up, Digidestins? Welcome to the Silver Screen Conference. As always, I'm your host, Shiroimon, and I'm joined by my good friends, Jovamon,
Joe Valicious here.
P4mon,
Yeah.
Wardegimon,
Prodigious!
Tiomon,
Catchphrase.
and joining us as a special guest, we have Aaron Madokamon.
Cacao-man.
And now that we've gotten that out of the way, today's movie is Digimon the Movie, and known in Japanese as... a movie.
Yep.
Yes.
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 So, is everyone all set to Digivolve for the
debate-
greatest battle of our lives across the internet?
Absolutely.
Also, that is debatable. I'm still not entirely convinced that this is a movie.
So, Joe, and Aaron, did you guys ever see this movie in theaters?
I was only about 2 years old by the time this movie came out, so no.
This
Child.
movie came out in 2000, so I was old enough to have seen it. I am so sorry to say that no. In fact, I didn't even know this movie existed until the Nostalgia Critic review, honestly.
I didn't
Same
know-
here. Same
Did
You
here.
lived a
the
good
only
childhood, Jova.
The only
Yeah.
reason why I knew this movie was a thing was because a classmate in first grade or second grade, I forgot, brought in Digimon the movie to watch the class, but the teacher
However,
said no, because it's Valentine's Day or whatever. So I asked him, hey, can you get this for me? Sure.
you poor,
So I own the
foolish
VHS.
soul.
In fact, let me go get it right now.
So, I'm curious, does your VHS come with one thing I was aware of? The Angel Anaconda short?
Yeah. So time for the summary. You guys don't have to watch that. I made you all watch it as a joke.
Jokes are supposed to be funny, Deji.
You know
This was not
what?
funny.
I enjoyed my time.
You know what? Screw it. We are
Can I still talk about that because I want to rant
Yes.
about that?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this was one of the movies that in the day had a short before the movie here. That said, people reportedly hated the hell out of this short because...
Gee, I wonder why.
Well, okay, look. I'm not against the idea of some crossovers here and there. They can be cool and fine. This is not.
I mean, heck, Pixar does it all the time.
Now, mind
Sure.
you, a crossover sounds neat. That said, who on God's green earth was asking for a crossover between Angela Anaconda and a Digimon parody that doesn't even make Digimon sense?
Okay,
No.
you don't want to know why it was done. It's because Angela Anaconda was one of the few original programs on Fox Kids that wasn't,
Or the Fox Family Channel.
that wasn't Power Rangers or yeah. So
It wasn't
that's
Power
why.
Rangers or something that was acquired, that was produced by a different company.
Yeah, wasn't
so-
Angela
It's funny
Anaconda born
because Power
Nickelodeon
Rangers gets
property?
referenced in this movie anyway.
No, the creator of Unfabulous went on to make a Nickelodeon show, and the intro is literally the animation from Angela. Anaconda.
That's the thing. Angela Anaconda originally started off as one of many segments from the old Nickelodeon show Kablam here. Essentially, think of it like a battle royale to see which would go on to get their own shows. And out of all of them, it was Angela Anaconda that got it.
Brilliant.
No, and that's the thing. From what I look back, people weren't even really fond of the show back then, so
No.
it must have
No.
been about a creator's pet
Like
or
a-
producer's pet, because...
Probably.
See, I watched Monty Python and the Holy Grail at a very early age because Monty Python are very popular over here. So when I first saw it, I was all like, is this a Terry Gilliam cartoon? For those who don't know, Terry Gilliam is the one that does the
Mhm.
animations for Monty Python.
That's the
So-
animations you're thinking of. It's basically like, that idea where you see the realistic cutouts all pasted together into animation style, which a lot of
It's
people
li-
tend to attribute with British animation these
Yeah,
days.
that's why I've always said that this show feels like if Terry Gilliam got really, really drunk and decided to make a kids cartoon, and this is what we got as a result of that.
Was also
Now,
high
mind
on
you-
cocaine.
Now, what overall is the plot of this one? Annoyingness, but to be more specific, it's essentially about Angela Anaconda and friends off to see the Digimon movie, which they say, and I quote, to be the greatest movie of all time.
Ah.
Ah.
All right, let's check what animated movies came out that year. Here, go on, summarize.
There's not much to say. The conflict is about Angela and her friends having to get the seats, but what I suppose is actually her not traditional rival actually gets the better one, including her teacher, which obstruct her view. And Angela goes into a Doug-esque, power fantasy trip where she Digimons into Tai and she calls herself Angelamon, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Like, okay, here's the problem. She doesn't even turn.
Still noise.
The Joker came out that year,
which was infinitely
Chicken
better.
Run.
But
yeah, that was better too. But okay, honestly, I don't get it though. Like they have her digivolve into Tai, who's not even a Digimon.
And she calls herself Angelamon. And I love how TV tropes in its desperate attempt to defend, the American version of a movie tends to say, oh, but don't you see, one of the later seasons incorporated the fact that the humans could Digimon themselves.
Regardless, though, it's effectively the day is saved when it turns out they were in the wrong movie all along.
Oops, it's actually a romantic movie when there are two lovers. Ooh, cooties, let's get away from the room.
Not just that, a French movie for some reason.
Because foreign people are funny, Pedro. I don't know what to tell
to be
you.
fair, that is a trope that France does do a lot with their movies. So
I guess at least it wasn't Jerry Lewis.
Thank God it wasn't. So after that, the short ends and the movie can begin.
So, because Ham Saban is the worst company in the world, or
I'm Saban's the guy. Saban's the company.
I don't care. I hate him.
Come on, Diz, we gotta be clear with
this is a movie that is 3 short films mixed into one.
Poorly.
And apparently this movie may or may not have gotten some parents to divorce.
Yeah,
no, that's
the Anaconda skit.
That's the Anaconda short.
For the sake of just getting this out of the way, in 2018, an anonymous poster actually posted on /A, the dedicated blog 4chan dedicated to anime and manga, a green text story, as in someone written in a code similar to old computer with a particular symbol to start each phrase, that essentially tells that allegedly he was a kid and his parents actually were in an argument. They tried to go see the movie as a sort of let's spend some quality time together. The Angel Anaconda short freaked the fuck out of the kid. The parents started arguing with each other, believing that it was each other's fault, and in the father supposedly but moved out of the house 1 month later. Much like with most of green text story, take those with a grain of salt. But I've seen more outlandish things used for that kind of material. So
this is one of those.
I want to believe that at least part of that is alive in some kind, of fashion.
This is one of those cases where it's a crazy story, but it's a story that could very well be true. Because let's be honest, yes, Angela Anaconda can be great a nightmare fuel, especially if you're a youngin' at the time. And mind you, it could be very, very confusing. I mean, granted, it is still tied to the Digimon movie, so I guess one could argue that just wait to see it through. That being said, nobody was probably prepared to see an Angela Anaconda short at a Digimon movie in any shape or form.
Especially since people hated the show even back then.
Yeah.
Not to mention, I will have to say, like, regardless of how actually true it is, the truth of the matter is that I don't have much trouble. If there's one thing that will definitely cause a rift between people, it would be this thing. So...
Would you say that this might have been able to cause a rift between you and Vanessa?
Nah.
But anyway, here's how the movie starts. It's a prequel of doing it's just us localizing the very first Digimon animation short, or that has,
which I believe was a teaser for the series.
Yes, which has young Kairi explaining that
Kairi.
whatever. Juniper Lee
Tai
narrating
sister.
how her and Tai met Digimon and it came out, and just one day the Digimon came out of their computer, an egg, but Kairi didn't like talking, and she only communicated through whistles. The egg
Isn't
hatches.
she really young?
No, she could talk. She could still
That's
talk.
the weird thing. There's literally a line where Tai complains about how, oh, she's fine with talking to the Digimon, but she only talks to Tai with whistles.
Yeah. And
For
then the Digimon hatches this weird Tamagotchi looking thing.
Because
Yeah.
Digimon was a spin-off of Tamagotchi.
Yeah. And then it hides underneath their bed, and Kairi communicates with it by whistling the Digimon theme.
Okay,
I didn't notice that while we were watching. That's kind of cool.
honestly, I kind of found that bit a bit cute. And trust me,
It
this
is.
movie needs all the help it can get. So I'm gonna give it a point for that one.
Anime does that quite often, and it is just something cute.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
isn't just a thing of the dub. The Japanese does
That
it
being
too.
said, what the dub does, at least here, is to establish a thing that's gonna be present throughout the entire, pieces.
Willis.
Well, actually,
Not
no.
just the-
No,
not
we're not
just that.
Willis. A lot of moments that are supposed to have no one talking, as in just the action, either the action or a particular scene, having for the viewer to be immersed in, now has narration that either states the obvious or makes a joke, about it. Even if it's a case of, maybe it feels that the original was lacking something, so let's add this to, explain better or to light up the mood. It feels intrusive and annoying a lot, actually.
You would
Yeah.
probably think that the narrator is someone like Tai, right? Nope, it's Kari. Here's the thing about the dub. If you're familiar with the Ghost Stories dub, then this went to the same school of thought. Cause
Only nowhere to that extreme.
Oh no. It is not to that extreme, but it definitely comes from the same cloak, essentially.
That is a trait that I have noticed with early episodes of Digimon's dub in general. They try to go for a gag dub approach. So later on, they do shed that gag dub skin.
I'm guessing this was made around that time because it wears it on its sleeve. Mind you, there are some jokes that I do feel work. There are a lot that I don't feel work. And to be fair, a lot of the jokes that don't work were evidently also in the original dub as well. So I am not going to give the original dub a pass. Mind you, the original dub was not even a movie. It was
just an OVA.
And
Three different OVAs.
Yeah, OVAs in Japan have more leniency towards their actual maximum length, so you can have even shorts that are ranges from 10 to 40 minutes, basically.
Continuing, the Digimon suddenly evolves into Karomon, I think. And the first thing it does is the classic Toriyama poop joke.
Right.
It can't get any worse.
It just
got worse.
And then it gets to a point where Koromon fights with Tai's cat, and Tai has to work together. And
while the Rockefeller skank plays in the background.
Also,
honestly, the whole poop thing is the least of this movie's problems.
I'm gonna be honest, it may just be me, but something about the animation in this movie feels off at times.
Well, first one, again, the pilot. It was a pilot.
No. Okay, it comes from all segments, admittedly more so from the first segment, but no, the animation across the film feels a bit off at times. And mind you, the fact that they had to mesh and rearrange the three pilots to come from all parts doesn't help. And no,
I can tell you that for the second the first segment is actually the more traditional and more stable technically. The third is a mix of between the two, but Our World, the second one, which we haven't talked about yet, goes for a more stylistic kind of approach where some actions, feels like not in slow-mo, but more like voluntarily janky. If you're seeing something like, say, Promare, you kind of get what the kind of style is. I haven't seen the product that was done by the same person, Summer Wars, yet.
We'll get to that.
From what I've been told, it also has a similar way of using that kind of animation. It's more of a stylistic choice than anything, Jova.
Yeah.
Oh yes. I do get that. My point is that the quality still feels off. Like I get what they're trying to go for, but the quality does not feel.
I can
right,
actually
like
help
the
you.
animation.
I can actually help you there. The first two of these OVAs was actually directed by Mamoru Hosoda. Anyone who's into anime should know him. Basically, he's the director of the Girl Who Leapt Through Time and Summer Wars. I'll bring up Summer Wars later. Basically, this is you can kind of see this as the kind of the early version of what will become his visual style that we see in his movies. Basically,
Yeah.
So anyway, after that incident with the cat, Karamo introduces himself to Tai and Kari, whatever, and kisses them just to show his gratitude. Then poops again. Whoa. The following night, Koromon evolves into Agumon, except it's big for some reason.
Yeah, it's
and then
surprisingly huge.
I did not get that.
I guess it was just to symbolize that it wasn't out of this world. And then Ty's little sister piggybacks for a ride, and they're just going to town, causing mayhem like this is a kaiju movie.
Yeah, basically.
And speaking of it being a kaiju movie, suddenly a giant Digimon shows up.
Wait, before I get to that, it also has the dumbest thing where the dub edit, when they jump over that truck, a guy was like, "Did you see that?" No, I was asleep. But you're driving. Good job, Savannah. Try to be funny. No.
Okay. I'll admit, for some reason that line got a chuckle out of me. Maybe just from how dumb it was, but
Probably.
If the product was kind of like ghost stories, like dull or bad, I could actually see that. But again, if there was really no real reason, like I said, the intrusiveness of that comes really off as annoying because it basically tells that the people who were in charge of having to translate these things were even lacking confidence or believe that the product was too dull for people to actually handle and needed to be spiced up.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't there no line in the Japanese version for that? Like, was this just another case of localization?
From my understanding, from my remembrance, a good chunk of it was silent.
Okay, that doesn't surprise me.
No. So also most of the kids that are looking out the window see that giant Digimon, and most of them become the chosen Digidestins.
Yeah.
And again, I hope you enjoy seeing them here because this is pretty much the most that most of the original cast get in regards to action in this movie that is supposedly a celebration of the series.
Gee, it's like editing 3 unrelated movies into one was a bad idea or something.
You see, okay, I'm gonna say something. I completely understand showing the pilot because it was the first time we Americans got it.
So as well as our war game.
Yeah, our war game is basically the main course.
But
I can understand them shoving in the pilot just as a summary as. So this is how we first met Digimon. It wasn't through that summer camp.
So, okay, question, Dej. So I'm assuming what you would have done was cut this down to just having 2 of the shorts as opposed to all 3. Would it have been the second or the third short that you paired with this first short if you were trying to cut it down?
The second.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
Hey, Jova, would you believe me if I told you that was the original plan?
That makes a lot more sense. So
hey Jova, would you believe me if I told you that there was a movie in Japan that came out the same year that's a direct sequel to our war game? So they probably should have waited a year.
That sounds like the exact kind of dumb decision Bandai Namco would make. So yeah, I can believe that.
But anyway, yeah, so that Parrotmon, I don't know what it's called. That sounds like Gilbert Godfrey for some reason.
Yeah, I get the idea that the thought process was, funny parrot, let's make it sound like Yago, so why not? It's, again, despite, potentially, I don't know how it's done in Japanese, but it's probably the least of any potential problems of that, so I can live with that.
Oh yeah, Tai catches up to Agumon and his sister, and then Agumon fights the parrot, loses, and then Digivolves. Ty's like, Agumon's like, oh no, I'm Greymon now because okay.
And goes with an admittedly cool sequence.
Again, it tries to
and
showcase
it also has
like
the best version of the Digimon theme song.
It kind of tries to be like a kaiju fight scene, complete with how dramatic it is and how devastating it is for the actual human beings, which is a concept that, okay, Adventure 01 will only have the Meowtismon saga to showcase the impact of Digimon onto the real world, and even then, it's more of a secret invasion scenario more than anything. Only towards the end, it becomes a full-on war.
It's when Tamers is when they
Adventure 2 tried also to mix things up, but wasn't still on that level. But Tamers went full fucking through with the concept of Digimon invading the real world.
And also says that the first 2 seasons were basically a TV show.
Yeah.
Something like I forget. Greymon loses. Is Kyrie's upset? Then Tai takes her whistle, blows, wakes up Greymon, and then they play Going Digital. Greymon fires one giant blast and causes him and that parrot to disappear.
I love Kari's line. Greymon, don't you want to play horsey again? Where are you?
And then we have a time skip 4 years later.
Also, Dej, how could we forget to mention the thing that happens at the very beginning?
Oh, the Digirap.
The Digirap.
Honestly,
no, honestly, this time, Jova, I'm so not in the mood for honestly.
Yes, I am fine with it. I like that song, and I am fine with the rap.
I
just don't at me. We got fire in the chat.
It's an affront. My problem with the Digirap is that it was completely against what the Japanese creators intended. It's not a matter of I don't like un-American songs. Period. It's more so the fact that.
Oh, okay. I thought that's what you were going with, but okay, I understand.
You should already know me well enough to know that's not what I was going for. Sonic Gotta Go Fast from Sonic X is good because it stays true to the essence of the franchise that's being put on. The Digirap is in no way representative of what Butterfly is, as in the Japanese theme song. Like, I mean, it has nothing to do.
Butterfly.
Yeah, but that's my problem exactly. I'm not saying they need to beat Butterfly. I'm saying they need to try to do what Gotta Go Fast did, try to capture what the original song did in their own unique way, but again, preserving the intent of the original Japanese creators, not just completely pissing all over it with a shitty rap where the lyrics are just putting DG over everything. That's literally the ultimate example of American shittiness in media.
For my weight on this, it's like the Digirap is a bad song to me. I do not think it's a good song. At the same time, it is the guiltiest of pleasures for me because it's just something about cheesy rap that I just like. I don't know.
Go Ninja, go. Anyway, so we go to the 4 years later time skip, which takes place after the ending of the original series. And then we
Welcome
see
to our war game, folks.
Yep, and then we see Izzy discovering, oh, there's a Digimon egg, and we cut to, and other kids are also doing that. We then cut to Tai writing an email to Sora because they had an argument. What that argument is, folks? Don't worry, we'll delve into it later.
I'm sure it will be very important. I'm sure it's
the most important thing.
But before. Shiro, the reasoning is the same in Japanese as well. So even
like I said, I can blame a lot of the stupidity on the original dub still, and that goddamn argument is part of it. But
I haven't seen the Japanese version, and we're primarily talking about
Pedro
the dub anyway.
So any potential things that are in common, we already know what they are. And fortunately,
we'll get to it.
This coupling with Sora between Sora and Tai actually is one of them.
Yeah. So, and then before Tai sends this email, his little sister tells him, "Oh, I'm going to a birthday party, and I got my friend a pink Power Ranger. I wonder who made this."
Saban looking their own dick.
I mean, to be fair, this is the one thing I'll give. The Digimon anime was made by Toei, and Toei made Super Sentai and Kamen Rider, so yeah.
Not gonna lie, how cool would it be to see Digimon, Kamen Rider, and Power Rangers all cross over?
They really
That'd
don't
be
match
cool.
with. They really don't
IDW
match with the Sentai formula, to be honest.
I mean, to be fair, IDW right now is having a crossover with Power Rangers and Godzilla. So yeah,
Sure, why not?
but yeah, Ty's little sister sends him the email just because she's because that's what little sisters do. But the email doesn't go through, and Ty gets annoyed. Also, we're playing. It's been 1 week since you looked at me for some reason.
Okay, I'll give the movie this. Considering the context of the argument, that was of the email and the fact that there's an argument going on between Ty and Sora.
Yeah, that song
Using
actually
1
did
week
work.
is actually kind of fitting.
Okay, two things.
It's one of the few times where a song choice that they make for this movie is fitting.
Two things.
It actually works in the context.
Two things. One, on the nose much. Second, it's still very distracting. Most of the songs.
Oh yeah, it is.
Most of the pop songs, at least, I mean, honestly, to me, it will be all of them. But I'm gonna give a bit of leeway and say most, at the very least, of the pop songs that I actually put in this are distracting to say the least. And I don't even know most of them. Only a couple of them. But the moment they rear their heads, I can tell. Oh, someone in the editing room believed that this was actually fitting and this was popular at the time, so they just slap it there.
Again, I told you, this soundtrack is from my iPod.
Just put it on shuffle and they decided
This
to
to
use
me,
it.
this to me is also a bit important because one thing that we haven't established yet is that some stupidities aside, like the aforementioned argument between Ty and Sora, this movie is, and also a couple of other, comedy moments will show up later as well. This movie tries to be as dramatic as possible, actually. It is very tense, especially if you watch the original. But this
the original Japanese isn't subtle about it either.
But this stuff,
True.
but this stuff, when it comes to the actual music, puts a lot of levity. Like it feels more like of a wacky adventure more than actually a race against time.
Yes. It goes completely
There's
against
pretty
what
much
Mamoru
no in between, essentially. Like one may be super serious, but the other is super goofy.
Like the next thing that happens when Ty is annoyed that Kairi is going to a birthday party. His mom's like, "Oh, I can make you a cake." That's just something that happens in the Japanese version as well.
Sorry, go on.
However, for some reason, I don't know what it is with between this and Pokemon that food. They make the grossest food ever. Just like when we saw Mewtwo Returns and Brock was like saying that he was gonna make some spicy pizza on his pan, his frying pan or something like that.
What?
I'll use my frying pan into a drying pan.
Yes. See that Mamoru Zoda loves to use very quiet moments and very small pauses in between dramatic moments, which is why the music. Could you imagine watching? Okay, for those who don't know, this Mamoru Zoda went on to use Our War Game as the basis for one of his most famous films, Summer Wars from 2009. In fact, if you watch both Our War Game and Summer Wars, they're basically the exact same movie.
The same movie.
Yeah.
I have yet to see Summer Wars, but from what I've seen of Summer Wars, yeah, it is pretty much Our War Game.
No, I can assure you, it's literally Our War Game stretched to 2 hours. It goes for the exact same beats.
Let me put it like this: if Our War Game is about the bonds of friendship, Summer Wars is about the bonds.
Yeah,
of family.
it really is. It really is. And my problem again, like the simple tale, like it goes against the atmosphere that Mamoru Zoda was trying to create with Our War Game. That's my problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Izzy comes into Ty's house. He tells him about the Digimon egg, and this is where the movie gets very frustrating because the person that Izzy is like, oh, who he informed is Willis, this random kid that was even mentioned in the first part of the movie that I refuse to acknowledge because it's so minuscule.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, he was apparently another Digi-destined who just happened to miss the boat since he was off in America while all the others were here. So that's why he wasn't around for the original Digimon anime. He's been there all along. And apparently he also is tied into the events of this other segment of the movie.
For the record, in the Japanese, the person that informed Izzy was just a random kid.
A random kid who from Russia that's super smart.
That's because in this movie they have the American version. I mean, they try to establish him as some kind of a guy who has something to do with the other movies, but he doesn't. So basically, the translators realized, oh crap, this Willis kid is not in the other movie. So what do we do? Let's keep mentioning throughout the second movie, and that counts as foreshadowing somehow.
No, that's not how it works.
It goes. The most egregious case is at the very end of our war game, but we're far from there yet. Continue,
yeah. So when Ty is informed, he decides to call the. Oh wait, actually, they're trying to figure it out, and then that's when what's the name of that old man from the digital world?
Genai. They pronounce it. Yeah, watching the American version made me discover, but apparently in the American we pronounce it as Genai, and I'm like, what? Why?
I guess it was just how we saw and how it's pronounced, so we didn't know how to pronounce it.
Still, the caretaker supposedly responsible. If you have seen the series, at the end of Adventure 01, he essentially took care of the Digimon while the destined return to the real world. So that's why they're there.
So he informs them and sends Agumon and Tentamon to Ty and Izzy. Meanwhile, Ty goes out to try and contact others. Unfortunately, everyone is busy.
Yeah.
Or some kind.
Joe
wants a summer camp. No, not summer camp. Joe had
an exam.
Yeah,
two other things. One, for Joe, for some reason they make a joke about summer school, even though the movie is
takes place in March.
Like, read a fucking calendar, mate.
The calendar says March. Well,
and second, instead, an interesting case is between Mimi. There is a bit of a pacing kind of difference. The original Japanese version has Tai just leave a message, on the phone, and only later we found out what happened. But in the American version, they tell from the get-go the fact that she is actually on a vacation. Like
in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Remember that for later.
I'm not sure why we did the decision. Like, it's not even a case of oh no, people might forget it later. If anything, in the original, it comes off with the intent of being kind of a surprise and negative surprise that not shocks, but at least gives more tension because it comes in a critical moment where Ty needs the help of everyone and only then realizes the problem that's happening. But in here, again, it's just told beforehand. I mean, I don't really hate that. I just don't understand why it's there.
Now, what I don't get are the Digi-Destined that they choose to participate in this venture, that being Ty, Izzy, and later on, Matt and TK. But
Ty makes sense because he's the main character.
Well, yeah. Ty's obvious.
Matt makes sense because he's basically the secondary main character and the rival. And TK's there because he's a package deal.
Yeah.
Izzy has to be there because he's the brains.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you're not the biggest fan of TK, Dej?
What? No. Well, we'll get into it when we get to Adventure 02. Don't worry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Regardless, though. Yeah, this is kind of an issue, though. Like, okay, as an OVA, I can get it, An OVA can be sometimes a slightly mini-big or smaller venture. So for an OVA, not having all the cast there...
It was technically a theatrical film, though.
Wait, hold on. It was an original theatrical film even back when it was released as an OVA?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, then. In that case, it's dumb still in the original bed.
It was a 45-minute film.
Okay, Okay, so in that case, I don't get it. You make a movie of it, but most of the cast aren't available for it.
It's more common when at least for Japan, it's more common than you think. Remember that, for example, a couple of at least of the Dragon Ball or the OEAs limit also the cast that they have, and they also have at least for Japan a more theatrical release. Yu-Gi-Oh! Dark Side of Dimensions also is kind of guilty of that by the virtue of having joy being prevalent while not dueling a single time. In that.
Or how we talk about the Pokemon movies, and
okay,
most of the characters besides Ash don't do anything.
To be fair, when
Especially
it comes to the Yu-Gi-Oh thing, Yugi mainly be the one doing. I get that. And with something like, say, Dragon Ball, let's be honest, even before then, usually the ones that were most relevant were the Saiyans, and maybe some of the more prominent human characters at the time. So even that, I can get. Digimon, on the other hand, though, that was always more so an ensemble case where everyone was
There's
getting to do
also the
something.
bit of a problem that at the end of
enough.
Adventure 01, aside from from Tai and Matt, the only other Digimons that actually standed kind of a chance in terms of being relevant towards power creep were basically from TK and Carry, because for some reason that it's more hilarious to me than anything, the angel type of Digimons are disgustingly overpowered by nature.
Which is ironic because they're the ones who don't get to participate in the second segment. Granted, they do get to participate in the third segment, but still, the logic is still very, very confusing about this thing. And mind you...
Because here... Okay, Jeva, let me put it like this. The whole point of our war game was supposed to show that everyone is separated and they're out of time.
And they need to scramble together a solution with what they have, limited resources and all.
Okay, going off of the footage from it, it seems that this was still a problem with the original dub then. The problem is that a lot of the cast aren't even fully aware of what's going on.
That's the point.
Which, mind you, I feel kind of takes away from some of the tension as a problem.
So we also cut to Matt and TK, where his grandma is like old lady, doesn't understand technology. So that's frustrating. Tai tries to call his sister. She's like, "Yeah, I'm busy because I'm at a party." Sora, Izzy tries to call her. He calls her mom, and then when Sora comes in, her mom just comes up with an excuse. "I'm sorry, you have the wrong number." Like,
also, by the way, Sora here is voiced by Tails.
Wait, she is?
Yep, Colin.
Yeah, I looked at the credits. Colin
Shara is in this movie.
So I guess we can say that she at least went on to being in better video game-based movies.
Yeah, but she's voiced by Tails, so I don't really consider that.
Also, minor thing that I take it for what you want. When Carrie is actually receiving the call, in the original version it showcased that she was just playing cards. In the American dub, it just cuts to her by the phone and she mentions that a party magician has to arrive and she has been volunteered to be sawing out.
No, actually, in the Japanese version, he calls her twice. The first one was to blow out the candles. The second one, she was winning in a card game.
Still,
wow.
the dub just mentions about the mother being sold by a party magician. Like, why?
I will say this though, that this really did take me back to how the internet used to be, because holy cow.
Yeah, we see, I forget its name, but I'm just going to call it by its last form, Doroboromon, eating technology. Agumon and Tensumon try to fight it. It digivolves. It becomes becomes a bigger problem. Agumon and Tensumon digivolve. It doesn't work because they get knocked out. And then, unfortunately, because of Diaboromon's meddling, the phone connections are dire, and the internet is they lost connection. Also, technology is going haywire as well.
Mm-hmm.
Also, everyone is sending them emails because the Digidestined are celebrities.
Also, two things. Before their confrontation with Diaboromon, Agumon and Tentomon are racing to get to the point where he's located, and I know for a fact that this is just in American dub because it wasn't in the original, and sadly it's also for my country's dub. They make a toilet humor joke where Agumon saying that he has to go to the toilet. Right?
No, I thought that was Tentomon.
It was Tentomon saying it, and
one of the two
Agumon
says it, and it's really stupid.
Yes, it is, because don't you know, kids don't understand.
Second, one particular changes that they applied here is that in the original, Diaboromon never actually said a single word. You mostly get these particular stares that all of his forms tends to have. The baby form is, as per tradition, a bit more cute, but the more evolved he goes, the more menacing he manages to become, and he speaks through his action. For the dub, they actually gave him a voice, and and it's fine, as a tone of voice and everything. The problem is that you can tell that it was something that was added in post, because in a lot of scenes where he's talking, he's either like not really supposed to talk. Like there's these pivotal scenes where Agumon Greymon and Tentomon are super digivolving towards Metal Greymon and Mega Kabuterimon, but at that point Diaboromon tries to intercept them by also digivolving itself. The problem is that the American scene makes it basically suffers from Peppa Pig syndrome, and has to tell every single passage. He says, "Oh, are they digivolving? Let me too. Now I'm coming. I'm getting to you. I'm about to strike." Again,
is that what we call it? Peppa Pig syndrome?
Well, I'm borrowing a term that Kadikaru said, hepatitis.
Okay.
But my point is, once again, it's frustrating, and it showcases a lack of confidence and respect for the viewer, because it basically says, "Oh, the viewer probably wouldn't not get it, just by visual alone. We have to make sure they know,
I mean, thanks, movie. We know.
Continue that.
Continuing on.
So, so Ty keeps trying to use the phone, but gets interrupted by the telemarketer. Telling her all phones are still busy, and the telemarketer gets very, very angry at him. He then devises a plan that he can set, because of the Japanese systems, that he can message everybody, send voicemails.
Yeah,
and that's how he was able to get in contact with Matt. And so Matt and TK are suddenly on a bicycle to a random barbershop, even though the Japanese version shows some that wasn't the first place that they went to. But okay, whatever.
They went to multiple places in the Japanese.
I guess, to be fair, I can get them cutting that out. Like, that doesn't sound uber important.
So also the Bormon went to New York, and they were playing one random pop song.
Yeah, actually,
all my best friends are metalheads.
That is to be mentioned. Again, having devoured all the data that he needed to be an alpha nuisance in Japan, as you notice, the Boromon transfers to the Americans, servers, and we kind of get this minor montage of people looking worried about on the monitors, and the Boromon like crawling through different places on the internet, and at some point being a literal symbolism, being walking on a presentation of the American flag. In the original, this is conveyed by this kind of tense music, but but in the American dub, we get another pop song that makes it more funky, like Diaboromon is going on a trip, mate.
If I didn't know better, I'd almost think this were the Japanese trying to go, "Oh, this is what those Americans like, right?"
It's not.
Not really, Jova.
But no, not this time. No, this was actually a case of just the localization company doing whatever.
Changing music in anime dubs is just so unnecessary. I know it doesn't really happen now, but why was that even a trend at all?
I could maybe get some cases where it actually was for the better, but yeah, in a lot of cases it wasn't.
So okay, like the reason why something like Pokemon still has to do it is because of music
rights.
Yeah.
Japan copyright for their music is a little bit weird.
Yeah, like, so, to give localization companies credit, it wasn't just like they always did it for the sake of it. And hell, in cases like GX,
it couldn't have been helped.
And I'll give some cases like Yu-Gi-Oh! GX credit. In those cases, the localization soundtracks were legit hype to listen to.
The thing is, with 4Kids, like, there's one thing I will at the very least give 4Kids, that they were really good at coming up with good theme songs.
They were,
They were.
And, like I said, like something in the case of something like Sonic X, Gotta Go Fast is something that fits perfectly with the franchise itself, so it's fine.
And I absolutely love
going with the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX example, Get Your Game On also fits with Yu-Gi-Oh! GX.
Got a game on, Got a Game On is good. I'm not entirely good on Time to Duel from the first series. I mean, there's a bit too repetitive with the lyrics. I feel like you could come up with a more proper song like Gotta Get Your Game On. I think, which is an actual proper full song rather than just the same sentence repeated over and over.
Or one card short.
It's nice for all of you who did get Gotta Go Fast, but unfortunately I'm British.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Shiroi. No, that's the thing, Shiroi. See, my first time watching Sonic X was not even through the American through any kind of localization. It was by downloading the Japanese episodes. So I got to interact with Sonic Drive because you can't beat Kageyama. You cannot.
no.
That
So-
said, though, Notoshira's got a point. She got the absolute raw deal of having.
Oh no, definitely. I got that version too. Remember, Shiroi, we got that version too. Thanks,
Oh,
UK.
Well,
My
I got
condolences.
I got my own
Sonic.
version, which apparently was the worst of a bunch anyway. But I don't really care.
Worse
Where
than the
Anyway.
UK version.
Getting
I
back to the
find that
movie
you'll
at hand.
listen
but
to
yeah,
it eventually, Java. Yeah, where were we
yeah,
there?
we should get
But
back to
yeah,
the
we
movie.
we
But
cut
yeah,
to Matt
anyway.
and TK at the barber shop, and they join with Ty and Izzy. So they join the fight. You see War Greymon and Metal Karurumon, and then Patamon tries to join the fight. Hey, L owned, automatic owned. But
Touch.
meanwhile,
Digigrass.
yeah. Meanwhile, Izzy has to use the bathroom because he drank too much of Ty's mom's bad recipes, even though the Japanese version is because he drank too much tea.
Yeah, in
So
the Japanese, he drank too much tea, which fair.
But for some reason they made it like
Legit
jerky
terrible.
smoothies or whatever.
I don't get it.
Like that's
Anyway.
disgusting.
The Digimon dub has this weird
anyway,
thing of for some
so-
reason Taichi's mom made the worst recipes, and I never got that.
And then, meanwhile, Ty is paying attention to the fight. He's too into it, and then he just slams his dad's computer and whoops.
Causing it to blue screen.
Yep.
Wait, this is the apparently. If you've been around enough on the internet, you probably know this is actually one meme image that gets thrown around. This shot of Ty in disbelief while holding the computer in his hands.
Yeah. This movie has a lot of great expressions for Ty.
Yes, it does, and it's one of the things that I love about both this movie and our war game. The expressions in this movie are priceless.
Yeah, Ozoda's a fantastic animator.
Yeah, and then Izzy comes back, she gets annoyed with Ty, his stupidity, and then he brings up his argument with Sora. Then he asks them what exactly happened. Turns out for Sora's birthday, he got her a hairpin, and then Sora gets annoyed because you thought her hat doesn't look good, and then they start getting an argument, and that's why. Oh my god,
it's stupid.
I hate this trend.
Much
like
like
early
much like
animation
with
where girls are like getting really petty over like just things that we really wouldn't like at all.
even in
And not
general,
only this, even when he tries to talk to her, she refuses. No. He has to write to her an apology.
Okay, there's also this moment during the call that Ty was doing to everyone. There was also the moment where we see that Sora was about to actually get to Ty's place, but she refused. She actually changes her mind the last seconds, and she just storms away. But no, much like with most of the other cases where it's a case like this, I really cannot stand when a product has to literally waste everyone's time for, unnecessary tension in regards to, say, a love story that either goes nowhere or it's tumoric in nature, as in it outstands its welcome and it's just jam inside the plot just to waste everyone's time.
It also doesn't help that the entirety of our dialogue for a good portion of the start of the movie is stupid Ty and nothing else.
I know, right? Like,
That's all she says.
You got Colleen O'Shaughnessy to say such majestic lines.
You were saying, Aaron?
I was also about to say, you say that in the Japanese, she was saying it's essentially the same. Pretty much saying, hey,
Oh,
no.
I know,
Baka.
yeah.
Like, it's stupid. And that's the reason for why she doesn't participate in the fight. Because
Yeah, it is stupid.
And like I said, like I was trying to say before, like they don't even have the two of them actually make up at the end anyway. So what the fuck is even the point of this?
Well,
that's the thing.
Wait, question. So, because it's been a long time since I've seen the original series. Their parents know about the Digimon and everything, right?
Yes.
They must.
Yeah,
Again,
by the end,
they get...
But remember, by the end of Adventure, the parents are there rooting for them as they go back and defeat all the other Ultra Digimon and everything.
What I forget
Tying disbelief at his computer because he actually accidentally touched it, and as a result, the fight got interrupted via blue screen of death.
Oh, yeah. So after him and Izzy talk for a bit, they boot up the computer, and it shows that War Greymon and Metal Kurumon are already knocked out. But unfortunately, a countdown has started that nukes were happening. Also, Izzy was reading some mail that they were getting
from all over the world.
Yeah, from all over the world. Also from his not Mac because it's a pair computer. Fuck. But they're trying to figure out what the countdown is, what's happening, and they're scrambling for time. War Greymon, Metal Kurumon, with all their strength and struggle, try everything they can to go to follow Dear Boromon.
Ted, you forgot to mention the most important revelation on part of Izzy, that there's a computer virus on the internet.
Prodigious.
Die.
I mean that's the most important plot point, and totally a surprise. Come on,
dude. You gotta remember the
that's the line.
Details.
That's the plot point that holds the whole movie together.
The whole movie is literally a computer virus trying to destroy the internet.
Anyway.
So anyway, they go into the room where Jeroboam is, but he multiplied himself like he's the amoebas from Powerpuff Girls.
Also, in the montage leading up to that scene, we see a cameo from a character that American audiences would not be familiar with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The guy, he's the guy from Digimon Tamers, that the fourth member that comes in and saves the world. It's like,
from the Wonder Swan games.
Also, I just want to point this out. So, for a missile that's headed towards Colorado, being sent from the Pentagon, it apparently goes over Hawaii, where Mimi is vacationing.
And she thinks it's a firework.
Again. So that would imply that the missile went down south, all the way to Hawaii, then took a friggin' U-turn, and then goes right back up north to Colorado.
Look, Boromon was just having some fun.
Boromon just wanted to... Okay, I can't keep calling him Boromon.
That, or whoever was localizing this, doesn't know geography.
The Joe have a good point, because this version was made by Fox. They don't know geography.
Saban.
Well, okay, but wasn't Fox Kids involved because of the Angela Anaconda thing and everything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the Angela Anaconda was like the extent of their involvement, but still, though, I'm assuming Americans worked on this localization.
Well, yeah.
Sure, because that lies in with Fox not knowing geography, considering Dragon Ball Evolution. So.
Pedro, we've already established this with Home Alone 2, because apparently to get from Chicago to New York takes 9 hours on by plane.
No. Like that's what I was saying. That according to Dragon Ball Evolution, in just 5 miles, you can go from a desert to a volcano, because that's how it works apparently.
Yep, that's how it works.
It gets even better when we see where
Fox is run by the dumbest people alive.
News a ton.
Alright, one thing that Deji hasn't mentioned in regards to the final room with Diaboromon is that ever since the countdown started, Diaboromon started also multiplying, which means now there's like a fuck ton of them.
Yeah, and then they have to find the clock, and then he fires lasers at War Greymon and Metal Kurumon. They're KO'd. Tai and Matt are upset, but somehow, because of their bonds with their Digimon, they were able to go into the internet.
Yeah, this is something that I could not get. It's not, again, as you can imagine, since it's a physical thing that the movie does, it's also in the original. If it was a thing that it was like their essence reaching to them, but they were still physically in the room, with the computer, that will, at least you can tell with some kind of, interpretation, metaphor. But the movie kind of makes a point to showcase the fact that, let's say, Tai mother comes in, says something, and says, "Oh, but where did Tai went?" And the camera pans over to the station where, Tai used to be, and he's not there. It's like being absorbed via the monitor, like fucking Captain N. And the same goes, and the thing for Matt. Again, it on paper, it's a cool moment that showcases the bonding, but on a practicality level, this is something that the series has never done, so it really comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, well, but I get again. It's
And the same thing happens with Matt.
Yeah.
I mean, how they even got to the digital still kind of flimsy as well.
I mean, okay, at least with that, we can chalk that up to a freak accident. It wasn't so much contradicting the rules of the world. Here, this comes out of nowhere. Like,
Also, one thing I want to explain that the emails that they keep getting is what's slowing them down.
Yeah.
Even though they're
Those
later
same
able to use
emails
that to
end up
help.
empowering them.
Yeah, somehow, and the spirit of all the kids rooting for them is what forms a Digimon egg, and Wargreymon and Shadow Kurumon,
Metal
Metal
Garurumon.
Kurumon become Omnimon, even though in Japanese they're called Omegamon.
It's not even a case of weird name. The Japanese version tries to go through the violence happening while there's calm music in the background, so there's no line spoke. And I would have to say, okay, as much as I like the moment, at least we should have name dropped the name of the Digimon, as in this case, Omnimon. That one was fine for the American dub to actually put it there. Not so much, obviously, for the music.
Oh, that's
And then once Omnimon forms, they fire they deflect all the beams and then fire a cannon, and let's kick it up playing in the background.
Easily one of the best songs in the entire soundtrack.
Yes, it is.
True, yeah.
I'll give points where it's done.
Yeah.
And then do you think that it's over? But no, Diaboromon is still alive.
There's only one left, the one with the clock. Although in the American dub, they tend to say, "Oh, it's the original one," while it wasn't necessarily just the case. The important thing was just to get the one which had the clock, which symbolized, the fact that he had the reins of a countdown that was going on, and it's only like 10 seconds left.
Oh boy! So then,
and then Izzy gets the bright idea that because he's too fast and the emails has become too prevalent, he sends it straight to Diaboromon to slow him down, and it works.
Yeah, okay. I want to also mention this. I know it's a minor thing, so take it for more nitpick than anything. But whereas in the original, he just essentially says, take this. The American dub could not actually resist to be corny and easy. While slamming on the button,
well, okay. So I need to tell you, this was the year 2000, and people were still using AOL.
People were still using AIM.
My country never had that one, so I cannot relate.
AOL stands for American Online. So
no, I know it's kind of a meme line though. You got mail kind of thing. I know what it is. It's just that back then my country really did not have that kind of system.
Honestly, I don't mind that as much because, look, the whole email stuff itself is dumb when you think about it. Like, why is it that, at first it was slowing them down, but now it's not, and now we can control who it does slow down. In fact, what email did you even have to send it to, honestly? And again, this is something from the original dub version, so localizers can't exactly be blamed for
in terms of who had to be sent to, it has been established since the beginning that Diaboromon contacted Izzy via a specific mail, so he did have actually an address that Izzy could use for his advantage.
You know what? Yeah, actually.
But so so he gets destroyed, and then the missile falls apparently in Japan because
it was targeting towards Tai and Izzy.
No, that's the thing, Dids. In the script, they specifically say it's going to Colorado.
Yeah, remember, this is a dub, so it's suddenly in America, even though it's not.
They did bring up that multiple missiles were launched.
The one that they were
all
actually
just fall in the ocean?
No. In the Japanese version, it was just one missile.
Yeah. And honestly, one missile is all we see in this movie, too. And in fact...
Yeah, it's like they made it up.
But that's the thing, though. So the missile that was supposedly headed towards Colorado ends up in Japan. So let me get this straight. It was going to Colorado, but took a U-turn after going through Hawaii. somehow ended up in Japan.
Because
Jova,
that's how that works.
I think
Space
your
is warped and time is bendable.
or I think your country needs to rework probably better the guidance systems of your missiles.
Or maybe we're still going under the logic America's the only place that exists.
Okay,
Yeah.
Small point.
Remember early anime and all that.
Small point.
Okay,
Sorry, go on.
guys. Okay, first off, to answer your question, Tio, that was technically the Digimon piloting it, so that wouldn't be a problem with our guidance system. Secondly, I think it's a lot easier to chalk it up to this movie and localization just being stupid.
Small point also to add the fact that in the Japanese version we have a bit of extra tension with Izzy, going actually outside of a window and actually fearing that the missile is still gonna explode because you think, oh no, we're being too late, but thankfully nothing happens on that front. Well, the American version is just like, no, it's over already.
I also really like how in the Japanese version countdown that there's no music playing. All you hear is the countdown noise and Izzy counting down to it.
Exactly.
And it builds up a lot of tension.
Even for
and then when you look at it in the American version, it's like,
oh boy.
Also, for an extra bit, it was also tied also to one thing that Ty's mother was cooking inside a microwave oven, and when the countdown stops, essentially showcase that the cake is being burnt out, and she's like, "Oh, those electronics," and she does that in both versions, so don't worry about that.
So once they destroy the Aboromon, his last words are Willis. Because of course, because they have to tie him on, and then after all said is done, and Sora gets the email, Ty's email, and she's smiling and still calls Ty stupid, but whatever. I guess
technically they did make up in that regard.
I guess so. Whatever.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Unless they have an actual scene of them actually talking, I don't count it.
Well, okay.
And I'm gonna be honest. After this segment is where I pretty much stopped caring about the movie because the third segment.
We are now in what many people consider to be the worst part of the English dub, the Hurricane Touchdown segment.
We'll move on to that one. Actually, I had one more thing to say. Shiroi, since you say you don't like how Sora is written in this movie, trust me, check out Summer Wars because it also has a romance thing and it handles all this crap a lot better, basically.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, the thing to mention is that the American version just adds awkwardly in a segment from the third segment. From the third piece, that is to say, oh, Willis was new, got to know about the news and was totally happy, even though I question if they even tried to make the scene seamless, because it is not. It's just so jarring because of a complete different
of Hurricane Touchdown. It's like, what?
It's a complete different animation style, and it just comes off as in, oh, and Pucci was here too before going back to his planet,
But yeah, basically, you know what this feels like? This feels like Wesley Crusher Digimon Edition.
Die.
You know what? I'm right.
I don't even know what that means.
Star Trek: The Next Generation, Dej.
Basically, Wesley Crusher is like kind of the origin of the Gary Stu and Mary Sue memes.
Okay. Anyway, now we cut to 2 years later, present day, where we see how the older characters are doing in a brief montage. Like, Ty plays soccer. Matt is a musician who named himself the Digidestined, formerly known as Matt. Sora's waiting for Ty to call him. Izzy became Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, yeah. And who cares about the rest?
Wait, it's only been 2 years?
Oh, yeah.
The timeline with it 02 takes place, if I remember correctly, 02 takes place 2 years after the original Digimon Adventure.
Weird, because TK and Kari are so much taller compared to how they were in the... whatever.
Well, they aged.
I know, right?
Okay, because guys, I have a confession to make.
Well,
Yes.
I've seen this movie multiple times, but I noticed that I always turned off the VHS whenever I got to this scene part.
Gee,
Because
why am I not surprised?
I don't know what it was. I just thought, wow, I don't care. I like years I was
I can
suppressing
actually
it.
answer that. It's because this one feels the most detached from everything.
that's because
And the most
it is.
It
from
has
the Japanese.
it has the least involvement from the original character, so if you're watching this movie for the joke's on you, bub. And this is where the movie gets the closest to being just pure boring. Like,
And-
holy cow, the stakes don't feel as big as they should feel.
Let me
And-
put it like this before you go on, Aaron. Me, Pedro, and Tia were watching this. Tia was drinking, and they kept talking, and it drove him insane.
No, I swear to God, we'll get to that later because trust me, some of these needs to be discussed individually. But I swear, some of the lines that this first segment tries to get away with are, God damn, not in a sense offensive, controversial, or anything. They're just plain fucking stupid.
This is where the movie gets the most Ghost Stories dub-esque, I'd argue.
But
Aside from that, I also have a question.
yes.
Yes.
Like, why is it that in all three movies, despite having multiple time skips from Kari being a baby to being a little child to now being a preteen, how come she always sounds the exact same? The voice actress doesn't change her
Okay, to
tone
be fair,
at all.
Okay, are you talking about the narration or her voice acting in general?
Voice acting in general, both, like, seriously, because every time Kari speaks in either narration or via actual dialogue in all three movies, she always sounds the exact same. Like, even when she's go on.
Narration I can get being the same because, we can assume it's just older Kari telling us all this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That said, voice acting wise, when she's, actually speaking in the story here, okay, to be fair, even as a, I don't want to say baby, I'm guessing toddler, she speaks very eloquently for a toddler.
Yeah, it's just like
Strangely.
by the time I get to the third segment, I'm all like, "Wow, it's amazing how Kari's voice hasn't changed at all since she was a toddler, even though she's a preteen now." Like, it's just like, what?
Also, I know why they made Kari the narrator because she's the character that's involved in speaking in all three. But considering how
Convenient.
the big twist at the end of Adventure Zero 2 is that the narrator we've been following so far was TK all along, I kind of wish they kept that just for consistency.
I don't think they knew until like the very end.
Okay.
Because and the thing is, the first two seasons had a narrator for like this old guy or something like that, or I think it was supposed to be.
Oh,
Jeddah
they didn't
or
know?
Yeah, I don't think so because again, it's
my country had that pre-planned from the get-go. I don't know what happened.
And then, like, when you get to Tamers, the narrator is Davis.
And then Frontier has
Rika as the narrator.
So, Dej, I'm just gonna ask, what are your thoughts on Davis as a protagonist?
All right. No, well, let's say that for worst character.
No,
Yeah.
guys. You gotta love how there's literally a line where Kari pretty much admits that Davis is a poor man's tie.
Again, let's say that for worst character. So anyway, we cut to the new characters. What with Davis? What's the name of the?
Yoli.
God, I just saw the movie and I
it's
can
like
barely
they
remember
they
their
suck
names.
so hard.
Yeah,
Like,
no, there's a reason why the
Cody,
running...
Yoli, Davis, and Cody, Yoli, and Davis.
Okay.
I recall people not even really being big on these characters back
No,
in the day.
okay, before Try happened and changes the status quo that I'm about to mention, the running gang between the Digimon community was to say that the series that ended with an even number were the bad ones, and the one with the odd numbers were actually the good ones.
Let me also preface it with this. I feel like a lot of people's problems with the O2 cast, especially Davis, is because of the dub. The dub, the people that made the dub did not like Davis at all, and ramped up his annoying tendencies for the dub.
I'll be honest, as somebody who's seen the original dub, Davis still sucks. Mind you, the
Davis still
localization.
sucks, but he sucks more in the English.
I want to say before worst character.
Where were we there?
Gee, Didge, I can only wonder who your least favorite character is.
Okay. So we cut to this O2 cast just at the beach vacationing with their Digimon, who for some reason are in their preschool state for some reason. Their rookie state or whatever.
Yeah, the
it's
rookie
called.
state.
Which I don't get, but okay. Then we cut to New York while Kyrie and TK are there for some weird reason.
Ari says that she was there with TK to make Davis jealous in the narration. Because we gotta love something.
Okay,
because...
moving on. We then cut to finally Willis, because this is what the movie was building up to.
Your
and
favorite
he's being
character
attacked by a giant Digimon who is Kokomon. But his partner Terriermon is defending him, and they're playing one of my favorite songs, "Strange," because and I think it was one of the original Digimon's theme songs. Because
that I do not know.
Hey Terriermon,
no,
I
it is
remember.
because it's like. It's not. I don't know the composer, and it's always associated with Digimon. So, yeah.
Question: do you like Terriermon better in O2?
Tamers next.
Yes.
Tamers.
Even I was
It's not even a
Tamers.
contest.
Yeah, you know what? I agree. Yeah, definitely prefer him in Tamers.
I mean, in defense, I'll be. This was just basically them promoting him for when we get ready to see him in Tamers.
It's not too different from a Pokemon movie promoting the next generation.
Yeah. So that's something I will never complain about. God.
Continue.
What during the fight, TK and Kyrie see him. Kyrie asks if that's a Digimon, because what else would it be? I guess she wants to Ash Ketchum school up to be obvious.
Seriously, that line was so dumb. Oh, I think that's a Digimon. What else would it be, Kari?
Is philosophy
Pokemon, maybe.
Pokemon?
Yes.
It's a Gundam.
Honestly, could you have imagined that the Madmen actually went through with a Pokemon joke there?
I think they did at one point, but I don't remember.
No. They never did a Pokemon joke, or at least, not one with calling out Pokemon, if that's what you're wondering.
Yes, Pedro.
Okay, so those of you who know more about Digimon than this, explain this to me. Dejared explained to me why Davis was created to begin with.
I mean, no. I didn't explain. That was just my headcanon.
Okay, let me ask you this: like, concerning the whole thing with Davis having like them trying to pair Davis with Kari. Well, again, if you wanted to give Kari a pairing, wouldn't it make more sense for TK to be that, since they have a long history together at this point? It's just like it just doesn't feel like if you want to do that, there you go. TK is right there, and they have a long history together, and not to mention they have Angemon and Angemon as their Digimon. So if anything, it's even thematically appropriate. It's just so weird that they would go this route.
I wonder if, okay, that's my only speculation. I wonder if instead, because of their similarities and everything, instead they wanted to go to a pair that are symbolically, siblings more than anything. There's also the thing about potential, purity, because them having angel like Digimon, and also being the ones that usually are the more innocent, quote unquote, of all the the Digimon team, the Digimon destined, might be tied to that. But again, it's just my speculation.
So yeah, there's this constant running thing about Davis having the hots for Kari and telling everyone else, you can't kiss her.
Or you can't say that she's cute. That's the thing. Willis even says later, "Oh, that she's cute," and then he's like, you can't say anything.
All right.
So not gonna lie, Davis is kind of a creep in this movie.
The thing that instead Stokes Willis keeps repeating arc words, as in you had to go back.
Yeah, and that, also Willis
make your own joke here.
And for some reason, Willis just runs away from Ty and Kyrie just so he can get away from it, which prompts Kyrie to contact Davis and the others to go to New York to go find Willis, because I don't know. Meanwhile, you see
Actually, she tells them to go to Colorado because she overhears Willis on the phone talking about going to Colorado. Yes, it turns out that the virus was trying to send a missile to Colorado. So surely this is all connected somehow.
Of course.
So this is really bad. I'm sorry.
Hey guys. At least it's not California.
Die.
It's about to get even worse.
Carry on, Ditch.
So Kyrie and TK are on the train, and then for some reason they get attacked by Coco and then just fuck off for a good chunk of the movie. Meanwhile, we smash cut to Davis and Co. taking a ride from I forget her name's uncle. It's not they're hitchhiking, but they didn't.
Yeah, I'm saying the Japanese they hitchhike.
This has to be mentioned. Okay, the DG destined essentially for this part of the movie. They decide they essentially had to find a way to arrive to where Will is supposed to be, So they essentially hitchhike one vehicle after another. Apparently,
this is after having to take some private planes to get to America because remember they mentioned that they're not even in America.
Apparently, the American version hated the concept of kids hitchhiking things potentially, so we come up with the stupidest things ever. The biggest offender of these.
No, we'll get to it. Trust me.
Isn't it now, Dedge?
No, because this is when they meet Willis, when they catch a ride on a truck.
But in general, like, this isn't even just a problem with the movie, because I was looking up something based on something else that was said earlier, and yeah, just hitchhiking in the Western version of the show in general was just, like, taken out.
Yes.
Altogether.
That's the thing, though. They kind of end up hitchhiking anyway.
That's because they do it physically, but the dialogue keeps trying to hammer in the fact that they're totally not doing that.
I get it's because they didn't want it to portray kids taking rides from random strangers.
And yet,
I get it. I don't agree with the decision.
It has to arrive a point where if you're going to have the dialogue contradicting what the scene is actually showcasing, you should ask yourself some questions as a writer.
Not only that, though, when they pull off the whole pizza delivery scheme...
That's for later, Joe. That's for later. Well, don't worry about it.
Couldn't they just make the driver, like, a local family friend or, like, an uncle or whatever?
Yeah, that's a huge issue. They keep mentioning about, this is his personal uncle that got us this paper, but it's still stupid. And again, the most egregious offenders happens later, so please go on, Dedge.
Yeah, sure. Carry on.
So they take a hitchhike from our truck, and then they find it's Davis, Willis, and it's like I see Terriamon.
Mm-hmm.
This is so stupid. And then after that, they decide, okay, we have to go back to Colorado. So Willis gets a payphone and orders a pizza.
My God!
Let me see the actual line, because hold on.
It has.
And if I remember, okay, I never saw the Japanese version, but I'm pretty confident this is not in the Japanese version, right?
No. Also, mind you, isn't the pizza delivery after a fight that they have with Kokomon?
No,
actually, the visual fight only happens at the end, basically.
No.
No, it's not. I'm literally on the video.
They do have another fight with Kokomon before the final fight.
Yes, but it's after they order the quote unquote pizza.
Oh, right, because they end up getting left behind by them. When, again, they're hitchhiking in the back of the truck.
Guys, can't have our Digimon battle on an empty stomach now, can we?
That's the thing, they kind of end up
in general, the scene is presented with him actually stopping, another kind of truck, actually asking the driver and everything, and, receiving a positive answer and everything. But the dialogue keeps hammering the fact that they're getting a pizza and having these hilarious jokes about, what's the topping that you want? Wait, why do we have such a large truck for the pizza? And I'm like, please just shut the fuck up.
It's so stupid and not funny.
So bad.
Item.
Big of a
Guys,
pizza,
guys, forget that. The items that they order on the pizza.
Yeah, I
Pineapple.
remember pineapple being mentioned, and that was already.
Broccoli.
Pineapple pizza is fine. You guys are dramatic.
They also get broccoli on it, as well as bacon.
Pineapple is nice, just not on pizza.
It's fine. Stop being dramatic.
Not on pizza,
It's
Didge.
fine.
not
have to
separate
separate
it,
Ladies, ladies, you're all beautiful. Come on, let's just
We got a
carry
movie
on.
to talk about.
Okay, fine. So anyway, the other two guy, I forget Cody and what's her face,
Cody and Yoli.
Yolene, I get on, and then David's like, I guess we're all ready to go, and then the driver goes off without them, even though they could have told them, hey, can you stop and just pick them up, because no, common sense doesn't count. So I guess Davis and at least
Willis.
after that, Kokomon appears and is telling them to go back, and then they get the heroes get jobs.
Badly.
Right down to the part where Davis and the Digimon run into a sign that was blatantly in front of them.
You idiot.
That being said, after the fight, this is where things go back and forth. Because Willis goes, I have to do this alone because Kokomon kills, he says he makes anyone close to him disappear, which is probably just
and then Davis gets the idea to evolve Vmon into whatever this light
Flamedramon.
Blade.
No. The Storm of Justice. That's what it is.
No. Flames of Justice.
Oh no! I'm talking about after Kokomon appears, and then they.
That's Storms of Friendship.
Whatever.
That's literally what it's called.
They just hitch a ride on Vmon's evolution, and then meet up with the others. And then Willis gets annoyed talking about having to do this alone, and then Davis follows him, and then he tells him his story about how he had two twin Digimons tear him on a Kokomon, and that had the idea to make his own Digimon, and unfortunately affected Kokomon. And now he's upset, and then Davis cries, saying that's the saddest story I've ever heard. Willis tells him, don't be upset.
I'm the one with the problem, not you.
Get over it.
Okay.
Wow, that was handled quick. No, seriously. He literally comments on it being handled quick. This is where it goes pure Ghost Stories dub, with them pointing out the idiocies in the script, and also how stuff could even be animated better. No, there's seriously a line about how a character could be animated
I was also
better.
about to say, I freaking hate the sudden 180 Davis has.
I'm wondering.
I haven't seen the Japanese version, but I'm guessing in the Japanese original.
Not that bad in the Japanese, trust me.
Let me guess. In the Japanese version, he's doing it to sort of get Willis out of his funk by faking crying, I guess.
I believe.
And if I had to guess what the characters express with their emotion, his reaction is more of a case of I appreciate what you're doing for me. More than anything.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Also, Davis tells Willis, stay away from Kyrie because he's his girl.
Yeah. They have this conversation multiple times, by the way.
Which is too many times because it's about zero.
Audience, if you're wondering why
exactly.
I keep jumping from plot point to plot point, it's because I was at the point where I did not give a shit.
Not just that, the movie itself does it. Again, we mentioned sporadically beforehand, but in order to fit this Frankenstein monster of a thing, they literally chop away pieces from at least the two major shorts, Our War and this one, and the third one. They just chopped some of them, which didn't really have any reason to be cut away. They could have just been left there. And as a result, you can tell where the transitions do make no sense at all, because we just keep jumping from place to place, and it's especially jarring in the third short, where some transitioning makes no fucking sense whatsoever.
Like, at least with the second short, they were able to give off the illusion that this is still the Digimon we know, that it's still something of an epic venture where the whole world is at stake. Here, all that's at stake is the cliff sides of Colorado, apparently, and only just a small part of Colorado, with this Digimon that really could have explained stuff better. Quite honestly. And Willis is all tortured and sad alone, but then they convince him he needs to be in a team, and he agrees. Then he tells them a story, but then he's once again sad, tortured, alone. Then they convince him that he needs to be part of a team. Then he goes about how they probably made Kari and TK disappear and runs off alone, so then Davis has to convince him to be part of a team. No less than 3 times do we go through the same scene over and over.
Pure and
You
simple.
think that, like, even the room, yes, even the room would be shaking its head at this repetition.
Okay, let's relax.
What a story, Dad.
So the
late for
final
that,
battle,
Deji.
shall we?
The heroes team up when Kokomon tells them to go back. Everyone digivolves. Terriamon evolves into the best one. I forget what it's called because I'm a
I forgot the name, but for some reason it's the same design that one of the 12 Zodiac Digimons from Tamers actually have, which is especially hilarious because
No, I said Terriamon, not Kokomon.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Terriamon, the one that turns into the rabbit with guns for hands.
Yeah.
Which is one of my favorite Digimon designs because of
and then he becomes Rapidmon.
And yeah, Kokomon also evolves into that Zodiac Digimon.
Which I don't really understand, especially considering how in Tamers, actually, that Digimon ended up being one of the benevolent one from the Zodiac. So what the fuck happened here?
Don't you see, Tio? The virus is corrupting him. The virus that Willis apparently created that infiltrated the internet back in segment 2. Because
also, it's here where we get Tio's favorite line in the movie that caused it to snap when Hulsmon digivolves and says, "Can we please wrap this up? I'm on vacation."
Again, there's a
I'm genuinely convinced that that was actually not in the script, and that one of the voice actors just wanted to get this over with.
Again,
just tired of this.
Well, I've watched the show in Japanese with proper, accurate translation, and trust me, it's just as boring as the legends say. Trust me, they were doing us a favor. I assure you.
Mind you, I'm not still completely 100% keen on the idea of essentially, what essentially is violating, an original writer's, idea and everything, unless it's something that was saying like something blatantly racist. Potentially, I can understand in that case if certain conditions are favorable for that. But the reason why I managed to laugh for something like Ghost Stories, like I said, is again, one, for the audacity, and two, for the fact that it manages to make the scene, being fitting for that also kind of humor. The offer Ghost Stories actually managed to make the humor work with what the scene that they had, For this localization, for this Frankenstein monster of a collage, the jokes seem to be just out of place. It really feels as if they had no material to work with and they had no idea what they were actually, working on. Which is weird considering some of these voice actors did work for the, for the Digimon series beforehand. So I really don't think it was even an improvised kind of thing. But some of these jokes just feel like out of nowhere, and practically all of them stab you through the heart, and you can tell that the original probably was which try words and all, but at least God, honest to God, try to have a dignity of some kind. You can see that dignity is just ultimately shattered, by this kind of behavior, and it just feels wrong. That's I'm not laughing because one, the jokes are annoying, and two, I feel sorry for whoever made the original, the original short in this case.
If it makes you feel any better, Tamers got better with its dub, and I believe part of it had to do with Steve Bloom was involved with that. I don't know. Stuff happens, they fight, and then Kokomon digivolves again. There's this time anomaly that turns the characters young and their Digimons into their baby forms. I don't give a shit. Also, Tyra and PK are there.
I have to ask, was Was this like from a different segment? Because the whole characters turning into youngins thing, that just felt
No,
like
It's
a sudden
apparently
that's
jump
one of
scare.
the
it
that's
was
one
a
of the
plot
powers
point
of
that was going
Pokemon.
on throughout the movie, but again, because of how butchered this dub
Because
was.
It's one of the
Okay,
powers of
when you
Pokemon.
say
this
going throughout the movie, do you mean like the original third segment or
Yes.
whatever?
because the original plot of Hurricane Touchdown was Kokomon was kidnapping the original Digidestin,
hmm
trying to search for the
Ah.
kid
This is
Wallace.
this is why TK and Carrie just disappears during the train scene. That kind of happened in the original, although it's showcased a bit better. But it's because
It is.
Pokemon has this ability of transporting to a different zone, and it showcased in its more Digivolve form. The fact that he has a a wormhole inside his mouth. So
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that in the original dub, we see the original cast also turned into kids or
Yes, yes, we
whatnot.
do.
Hmm.
In fact, we see that throughout the original Japanese movie.
Yeah,
Because as weird as it sounds, if when we tested this, I was saying I said the Japanese title of the movie. This is technically two movies.
So
what?
here's what?
Hurricane Touchdown is the first part of the O2 movie, while Transcendent Digimetals is the second part.
I'm done.
So here's my
I
question.
can't believe
This
that.
movie just gets more and more messy the
I
more I
can't
hear
believe that
about it.
because I don't know if it happened in the original Japanese version, but in my country, for example, the first of the Broly Returns, movie, was also attached to the Bio Broly movie and released as a single narrative.
Oh, Second Coming and Bio Broly.
Yeah,
So here's my question. You're telling me that there actually was in the original version something involving the original Digimon cast, which could have
But was
explained their
cut out of
absence
this
better
movie so they could focus on the O2 cast.
You
in a
know what?
movie that already has the original cast being somewhat focused on for the first 2/3 of the movie. Why
Yep.
didn't they leave in those original elements? It would have explained better why they were there. We would have still had them, so this could have felt better connected.
oh man.
This is literally the movie shooting itself in the foot 10 times over while trying to win a foot race. What the hell?
It took me till when we do Digimon, so I just snapped. Because hearing that it was two movies combined into one, so technically this is four movies combined into one.
Instead of taking out a bunch of stuff and splicing the rest together, couldn't they just have them be as they were, even if the dub was still terrible?
Especially
They
because
just made it worse.
especially
original
because
plan-
the runtime of the collage movie it's not even that long.
And actually,
barely
Hey,
barely
Joe?
after an hour.
I actually have a basic idea of what they probably did, but I'll let Aaron say his piece that he was about to say first.
Apparently from my research, the Frankensteining of this movie actually got Saban in trouble with the Screen
Good.
Actors Guild.
I wonder why.
Really? Legal trouble?
Trouble over residuals.
Oh, okay. Do
Because-
tell.
I
Because
can only imagine how Zoda
Wow.
felt when he saw this thing.
because under normal circumstances, dub actors usually aren't paid big residuals for
So by cutting out stuff.
dubbing the stuff. So by the Screen Actors Guild considered the movie to be as much of an original thing, so they brought it up to Saban about you should probably be paying your actors better for this original thing. And why wasn't this brought up before? Because it had never happened before this.
Don't you see? It's the perfect crime. Cut out scenes where our actors would have voiced, so we have to pay them less. How wonderful! So what you're telling me is that this may have been a bit of a money laundering scheme as well.
Well, we know how
Not to
stingy
that
this industry is.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie get even worse.
And if you pay attention to Power Rangers, you know exactly how cheap Saban is. Stuff happens. So
Okay.
Angie Mon and Angie come. they release the Digi-Egg or whatever. Terriermon and Vmon get armor evolution.
Okay.
Cool stuff happens. They finally destroy Kokomon. It's cured from they purge the evil, but it dies. The Willis is upset. Davis tells him, "Hey, you gotta remember one thing about Digimon: they never die." Meanwhile, you smash cut to
Well, yeah.
Leomon saying, "Am I a joke to you?"
As long as there are people to want to buy our shit, the Digimon will keep going, so we can buy more merch of
And
this
is this the
specific
point
Digimon.
that where he cuts to the credits with the last
No.
pop song?
And then we smash cut to New York, where the gang goes their separate ways. But before that, Willis kisses the girls, and Davis says, "Hey, what'd I say about
can't
kissing?"
do that. That's my girl.
And
What do you
then
mean, your
Kari's
girl? It's the guy talk.
Again, they keep doing it.
Stop. Cease.
Davis, thank you
Enough.
for reminding me why we hate you. Now please go into a corner and die.
Go into the corner and think about your life, Davis.
So you mentioned Saban before.
Then we cut to Willis, and then you see a Digimon egg, and then Coco Omon is singing.
Oh,
Some.
Yes. Hey, now you're an all-star.
All notes and the fucking movie on.
And then Willis's final line. He's
tone deaf.
And then the credits is
Fuck
We're
you.
Kids of America playing.
I think it's
A
pretty much
genuinely good cover, though.
at that point the movie is just blatantly recrolling the audience.
But
No, see, the thing about Saban getting in trouble about this is because, well, here's my theory about why this was even done at all. This is a studio who wants their Pokemon money bad, because remember, this was back in the day where Pokemon, especially Pokemon movies, were at the peak of their popularity.
I believe this was a year after the first movie came out, and 2000 was about to come out in theaters.
So you see, Shiro, the reason they didn't release in the individual movies on their own is because that way they are not feature length, and therefore we can put them in theaters to get some sweet Pokemon box office monies.
Okay,
So this is a studio doing a completely cynical move because they're money hungry.
I looked at the dates. Digimon the movie came out October 6th, 2000 in America.
The same year that Pokemon 2000 came out.
No.
Yeah.
Did?
Pokemon 2000 came out in 2000. That's why it's called
I'm
Pokemon
sorry,
2000.
Pokemon 2000 absolutely craps over this movie. That
Oh,
movie
well,
may have bombed-
no, it is. I'm not saying otherwise. I'm just saying that it's abundantly clear why Saban did this.
Yeah.
Pokemon 2000 was July.
Hey! Would you guys believe me if I told you that this has a higher Rotten Tomato score than Pokemon the third movie?
Get fucking
Because critics
real.
didn't understand Pokemon.
Critics never liked Pokemon to begin with, anyway. So, because you have to understand that this was a bunch of adults who didn't know anything about Pokemon suddenly being forced to watch this for review. So obviously they're not going to get it, you know.
All right,
Yeah.
movie's over. Thank fuck.
No, actually, this also has a higher Rotten score than Pokemon 2000. Are you insane?
Are you insane?
Yes,
Pokemon
they were.
2000 has 19%. Digimon the movie has 24%.
I mean, it still has a bad rating, but still.
Yeah, no.
Not bad enough, in my opinion.
So that we're doing the usual awards kind of thing.
Yeah, Shiro, since you're the host, it's the Willis Award. What's the award for award? What do we call it?
The Willis
I
Award?
thought we were gonna call it the Davis Awards.
No.
Honestly.
The Crap Character Award. There we go.
Willis.
What's
Davis.
that?
Davis.
And what's that mean, Shiro?
We're gonna go around and everybody's gonna say their least favorite character.
Okay, all right. Who wants to go first? Okay,
Yeah.
Joe.
Davis.
What? Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, okay, one, he's a poor man's Tai. Tai is already such a great protagonist, and yet you give us this weak sauce of a character. Just know he's creepy about his infatuation with Kari. Please stop.
Go into the corner.
Okay. Here's my take about Davis. it feels like somebody really wanted to ship Tai and Kari, but couldn't because they're related, so they made a new character who looks exactly like him.
You know,
And
that
also
just
he
makes it
has Tai's
worse.
goggles because Tai gave them to him.
Yeah, Tai actually gave him those goggles.
You know, that very only makes it worse. Like, oh god.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, look, it's bad enough when Capcom shipped Mega Man and Roll, and that is an actual thing. God help me.
Yeah,
But
yeah, it's called
this,
Legends.
and it also happened in Mega Man Powered Up.
What the fuck?
All right.
All right,
Okay,
next. Who wants to go next?
Shiroi, why don't you go next?
I really don't care to remember names. Who's the one who just kept complaining about Tai and nothing else?
Sora.
Sora. Yes,
Sora.
Sora. Otherwise, I
choice.
would have picked Davis for the exact same reasons. He looks way too much like Tai, like for this to be okay.
You know, so
But
Davis is
no,
the kind of
I'll pick
character.
Sora. Like she
Davis
does
is the-
nothing, but like she's here to complain, and that's it. Like complain over something really stupid, even.
Yeah, it's like the
So.
Misty
Yeah.
Awards.
No, I
Davis
like
is the
Misty a bit
worse
more.
than
I
Misty.
like Misty more than her.
Yeah,
I'd
like, you know,
say-
I hate to say it, at least Misty did more stuff. And mind you, this is coming from somebody who does not care for Misty. I will take her over Sora in this movie. Sora in
and I
this
just-
movie specifically.
And I just got done watching the first 5 seasons of Pokemon, and I'd say Misty's better.
It doesn't help that
Yeah.
the more the series progress, the more Sora gets jobbed or, gets given such a dirty hand constantly. But whatever.
Oh, so she's like Kyrie from Kingdom Hearts.
Kinda.
You know what kind of
yeah, kinda.
You know what kind of character Davis is? He's based on his infatuation. He's exactly the kind of character you would see in Casper or Hook, who constantly says, "Can I keep you?"
Oh god.
No, seriously, the way he behaves, it's just like one of those characters.
All right.
Okay,
Your
Drew.
turn.
Yes.
Your turn.
Your turn.
Oh, well, I can't pick Davis anymore, so I guess I'll go with who's the Digimon that poops again?
Oh, yeah, him.
Horrible.
Agumon's
Agumon,
baby
yeah.
form.
guess-
Him. There you go.
Can we
can
consider
go.
Karumon a separate character because I actually
Sure,
like Agumon.
whatever. It's still Agumon, but yeah, go on.
Nobody picked Agumon either, so.
Well, that's the thing, though. The one you're talking about technically grows up to be Agumon, and that's just a damn
And then
Fine.
tries to retcon it to say like, oh, it was the same Agumon that Tai had all along, but not.
Which
but
doesn't
even
really
though
fit with the lore established in
Yeah.
the last portion of Adventure 01.
Yeah.
All right, I'll
Okay.
go next. Easily, Willis. For this,
Yes.
okay, for the context of the dub at the very least, for such a character that the movie tries to hype up and connect everything with, he doesn't really end up being more than a catalyst than anything. Willis might as well be an object more than anything because he's in no real way a major part of the reason why Kokomo manages to be defeated. Sure, Terriermon's Digivolve form also helps too by being combined with the others as well, but Willis as a Digidestined and everything is such a weak character. And I don't mean one that's not able to do anything, but one that doesn't really contribute much, and is the few moments that the dub this version actually gives to him are so weak on their own as between a broody teenager who doesn't want to actually have people around him harmed, which I do understand the idea of closing yourself in, but it's not conveyed well, or that that moment where he swings, that he has a mood swing, just because he has a minor speech given to him. It's just so jarring. So no, I know that Davies is saying he had worst case, but if I had to pick someone else, it has to be Willis. Next.
Aaron.
Davis for the same reasons Jova gave.
Okay, I'm gonna say. Okay. Normally,
Yeah, usually Dej likes to have it be that we pick a different character.
he's new, so it's fine. So I'm gonna say T. He didn't do anything in this.
To be fair, he did show up with Agumon in the end, which, yeah, he and Sora somehow escaped the evil train.
Don't you mean
Somehow.
Kyrie?
No,
Kari.
Kari.
Kari, yeah.
Kari and TK escaped the train, and they technically did come to the rescue with Agumon and Agewomon.
Angemon and Angelwomon.
Yeah, it's like,
Jesus
what?
Christ.
Kylie.
Digimon noob.
Okay, so what's
Alright.
next?
It's the best character. You know what? I'll go.
What are you calling it? The tie awards?
We'll call it the who's a really good. No, we'll call it the Rika
Takata.
Awards.
The Rika Award. Yeah, the Rika Award.
Oh, I see where you're going with that.
Actually, I prefer Takato, but still.
Takato.
I'm gonna say Ty. Basic bitch. Yeah, I know, but he was the only one that didn't piss me off.
Okay.
I have a different suggestion, if that helps. Gargomon, it's a bunny with Gatling guns for fists. How is that not the best character in the room?
Fucking cool.
That's actually a good point.
Everyone else is just crap anyway, so I'm going with the Gatling gun rabbit.
Because everything else.
All right. If I must pick someone other than Ty, I'll go with Wargreymon. Because he looks awesome and gets stuff done.
Yeah, someone gets it.
So, for me, if I actually had to pick someone else, I'd probably say Omnimon. That is a fucking cool design.
I love how most of our picks are pretty much the Digimon.
Well, I do have.
To be fair, they are characters.
Yes, they are.
Yes, dear.
My pick instead is Itzy, honestly. Sure, weird toilet humor moment aside, he's the one who has to essentially do heavy lifting for most of the war short, and also the one who comes up with the more important ideas of using the males. Sure, there is a bit of the weird mechanics on how the males that had the spam that had blocked Wargreymon and Metal Garurumon, managed to make them, empowering them at some point. But again, for the purpose of the movie, involved that Itzy manages to be the more consistent one, so I'll take that.
Yeah.
Respect.
And Pedro?
I'm struggling to come up with a character for this thing. No, trust me. Even if I was the first one to choose Dedge, I would still struggle because I don't think there's a single good character in this movie, to be honest with you. Because there's story-wise, nobody's character arcs actually function in this movie. There's no. So what do I even pick?
You can say Matt.
No. Well, yeah, okay. I guess I'll pick Matt purely because I guess he's one of the lesser of the evils. I guess
pretty much.
He's not even really bad per se. I guess.
Well, yeah, but he doesn't have a character arc. There's literally nothing interesting for him to do in this. He's just there. That's the thing. It's like all I'm doing here is picking which of these characters didn't annoy me.
Which of these characters do I hate the least?
Basically,
yeah, that's basically because there's not a single character that actually has a successful character arc. Because because there's none, or because it's completely butt fucked by the fucking mangling of the free movies, if at all.
Next category, Dedge.
Worst scene. And no, you cannot choose all of them. I know it's very tempting. You can't.
Well, here's the thing. I liked parts of this movie.
I kind of got a weird sixth sense of entertainment with some of these scenes as well. So it's easy for me to root out a worst scene, honestly.
All right, whoever wants to go.
There, I'll go. It's the scene where Davis is crying. Willis gets him to cheer up by just telling him to get over it, and he's like, okay, fine. Not only was this the third time that Willis has to go for this whole be on a team bull crap here and there, but that scene, that is just strictly abridged material.
Yeah, that sounds like something right out of an abridged series.
And mind you, I got a sick laugh out of that. But it is still terrible. And it's to that point where the movie is admitting how terrible it is. Now, the blow is softened because I did not pay money to see this in theaters. Imagine having paid movie ticket price admission to see this movie and then effectively have it laugh in your face like this. Like, oh no.
Oh no.
Just
Jova, to
no.
go off on that Forshan joke, if Vanessa spent money of mine without telling me to, get me to watch this movie with her, immediately the first thing I would tell her after we leave is, okay, you better really make it up to me when we get home, if you know what I mean. Otherwise, it's divorce time.
Oh God! So this movie might have actually caused a divorce if
God.
obviously there wasn't a good reward.
In any case, this movie is bad for couples. We've established this. Whereas the Sonic movie is a top tier movie for couples.
Hey, that's why 2 former Game Explainers got kids afterwards.
No, it's okay.
They saw the movie, and now 9 months later, pop.
No, but it's
See?
okay.
Perfect movie.
All right. Well, I guess I can go next. Easily, the hitchhiking scene that these guys are pizza, strictly for the dub, mind you, because
of the items on the pizza.
Well, that is only part of a problem. Like I said, it's the one case where it's more blatant that the dub is completely contradicting what's actually happening on screen. Yes, you can argue it happens beforehand with the geography fucking up with the missile and everything, but honestly, it also doesn't happen that the scene goes on way too long when it comes to that, and the dialogue doesn't really shut the fuck up about that. It's like the people who made the localization were so insecure about themselves and needed validation with each passing line by saying, see guys, this is totally a pizza truck, and these guys are just, being given a pizza and then using the truck for no fucking reason.
Because totally, the way pizza delivery guys work is that they will pick up the people who order the pizza to take them home on the way.
The American delivery system,
we're
everyone.
Not from Colorado. Maybe it functions differently like that.
I don't know. South Park doesn't seem to suggest that that's how Colorado works.
South. Oh God, never mind.
If anybody from Colorado watches this, let us know,
please.
Next.
For our public service announcement. Shiroi, why don't you go next?
We're seen. This is kind of just one bit that's spread out throughout the second half of the movie, but since this movie is just pretty bad overall, I'm just gonna pick from the moment onward where they started arguing about girls. Just what was the point?
Okay, which scene? Because there are multiple scenes where they were arguing about girls.
Yeah, I'm picking all of those. It's just that entire bit in general. It's just
TV tropes loves to call it the Dulcinea effect, as in two people who are romantically interested in a third one competing for their affection. It's a dated trope more than anything.
It's called a love triangle.
Love triangle is a bit more different than that. Love triangle can also involve potentially, just establish the relationship, more than anything. The Dulcinea effect could be just like a single person for which two people contend, between each other to showcase, their love for the third one.
Yeah, that's it. It's hard to pinpoint any specific scene being really, really bad that hasn't already been picked.
Next.
Yeah.
Next.
Ready.
Pedro?
Easy. The Angela Anaconda bit.
No, I
didn't think we were counting that.
Okay, wait. Okay. For all of you that wants to allow it, say aye.
Aye.
I
It counts. It's part of the movie.
All right,
I was totally waiting. They're not picking it. I'll do it myself then.
You know what? We were made to watch it by Deji. Thanks a lot for that.
I love you too.
So I think
it counts.
Yeah, I think it's only valid that we do include it as an option. So yeah, go
Sure,
ahead.
sure.
What is your thesis on
remember,
why that is the worst scene of the movie?
I'll get to you, Jova, just a moment. Sure, remember, this thing is on the VHS, it's on the DVD. For all intents and purposes, this is part of the movie.
By the way, Tej, how was Frozen 2010?
This isn't even. This isn't even a matter. This isn't even like with This isn't even like with the Pokemon the first movie DVD where they separated the Mewtwo origin bit into its own special feature because apparently it wasn't originally meant to be like that. No, this was ingrained in the movie itself, and in the DVD, it's still there as part of the movie. This is part of the movie, so I'm definitely counting it. As for you, Jova, why I'm picking it? Well, do I really need to explain? First of all, the animation is terrible. It looks like
Here we go.
It looks like Terry Gilliam got fucking drunk and decided to make a kids show, and it's just like, and the jokes aren't funny. The characters look ugly as sin, and the thing goes on for way longer than it needs to, and it's just so completely doesn't understand the source material. Oh, and did I mention that reportedly it apparently got people divorced? So just
simply
We're
awful.
never letting that go, are we?
Nope, never.
No,
Absolutely.
never letting
honestly,
that go.
at this
ever.
point, it's part of the legend, the lore, and the legacy.
It's the ultimate, that bit is literally the literal definition of sticking out like a sore thumb. This is not even a. Yes, you know what? Never mind. This is not even a sore thumb. This is literally a grotesque foot coming out of the movie's ass.
And mind you, that's saying something given the movie it's attached to.
Exactly.
What about you, Aaron?
The only really. But I was actually gonna say the Andrew Anaconda one as a joke because for my bit of the movie, I actually the rip I have doesn't have that bit. So
because I didn't give him separate Andrew Anaconda.
I'm curious. Where did you get your copy?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. So so you got the one. Is it the one made by Dark Dream?
I believe it is.
Okay, because he used all the free Japanese Blu-rays to painstakingly recreate the Wii U version, but he also offered the Agile Anaconda bit as a separate download, basically.
But in all seriousness, my least favorite scene of the entire movie is honestly the same one Deji brought up. That's the saddest story I've ever heard.
I was the one who brought that one up.
Not you. Get over it. Okay.
The interesting thing, Aaron, is that the version I gave to all the others to watch was the same you got. So that's fun.
Yeah. Which is funny because that was the one I wanted to give him.
No, I followed Dark Dream.
I already had a rip on my own, so I'm like, no. If you're, I think I kind of knew you were trying to give me one with the Andrew Anaconda bit,
No, I legit was giving for the HD remaster.
That's actually something that I would like to take just a moment to appreciate, just so I can have something positive to say about this whole thing. You know, I want to say that Dark Dream from not just the internet in general is awesome because he went out of his way to get the HD 1080p rips from the Blu-rays, and he went through a arduous process of painstakingly recreating the US version by editing all this crap exactly like how it is in the US DVD, so that fans can have a proper HD remaster of the US version. So the true winner of this entire scenario is Dark Dream for his awesomeness. Yes. There you go.
Damn.
Okay.
What about you, Dad?
Wow, there's so much to choose from.
So much to do, so much to say.
Like being a kid in a candy store.
Just to be a jerk.
You're breaking your own rules.
because Jesus Christ, it's no. That's really bad. And I say this as someone who genuinely loves the Digimon theme song. That rap is terrible.
It is. That rap is bad.
Do you think we should have just stuck with the Digimon theme instead of adding the rap on?
Yes.
Yes. Or at the very least, do what the Pokemon movies do, and remix the theme song.
Or what's another scene? The ending scene where they play Smash Mouth All-Star because
what a fucking note to end the movie on.
All
You
the pain and
you
heartbreak.
stole my pick for best part of the movie.
I mean, you can still count it as best part. I don't.
No, I have a more
I don't give a fuck.
legitimate answer to that one actually.
Or I could choose the reason why Ty and Sora didn't talk, because that is legitimately stupid. I know it's even the Japanese version.
Yeah.
And
It is
That is
more
in the
teen
Japanese.
drama in both versions.
this is this feels needlessly petty.
It is.
It does, yeah. It's like you would think that they would, just talk it out.
Like I thought they would have a more legit reason to not talk. Like, I don't know, they probably had feelings for each other and like didn't want to commit, or maybe something
That would have been what 4Kids would have done.
Yeah, it would.
All right,
Oh, yeah.
next category.
Sure.
Best scene.
Okay. Can I go
Sure.
first?
Oh, go on, Didge.
Go, Digi.
Omega Monster Transformation. Because
Darn it,
I
you
love
chose my
Let's Kick.
pick.
Because I
That
love
was
Let's
going
Kick
to
It
be
Up, and
my
that's
pick
cool.
as well.
All right, what about
And we
you,
were
Shiroi,
polite.
since you mentioned it?
Just gonna say the intro portion of the movie, just because it's by far the most harmless and is just kind of cute. Like, I don't know, it's nothing
Yeah, they're
great,
cute
but
as
The
you know,
kids.
like the Digimon Adventure OVA.
it was the calm before the storm. Yeah, like the first part when they're just children, like getting introduced to Digimon. So yeah,
Yeah, they look cute
that
and all
portion of the
that.
movie. I know it's not
Yeah.
one single scene, but I still want to count it because
It counts.
I would struggle to pick a single legitimate scene that I find really good. Who's next?
Pedro?
The end of the credits.
Hey now, you're an all-star. Get
No. You're not. Remember, I mentioned.
No.
I said specifically the end of the credits.
Yeah, we're not
meaning,
doing that. Come on.
But that
That's
was
too
my favorite.
easy. That's
that
too
was the-
fucking easy.
But that was the part that I liked the most.
But that's not really a scene. That's just about a words crawling up the screen.
You
Uh,
even
There
make
is
it
good
past
music
the
playing
you
during
even
that.
make it past the end of the credits. You turned that
Fine.
off.
But they're words
Fine.
he wanted to see ever since he hit play at the beginning.
fine. I guess the whole Pro Dig is a computer virus on the internet just because of how absurdly ridiculous it is and how funny it is, unintentionally funny it is, because it's just like, what? That's all I got. That's the best. That's the best I can do.
To you?
I'm kind of at a loss here. Part of me would like to pick the montage in which Diaboromon actually transitions towards the American territory, but I'm sorry, the dub just gives this pop song that's still not fitting for what they want to do. It's just not fitting. I'm sorry. Okay, sure. Let me put since no one mentioned it, Diaboromon's defeat, because the countdown and the actual tension that's been rising, it's something that is preserved for the most part also in the dub. So I'll go with that.
Is that technically intertwined with what Dedge picked as his favorite scene?
Dead picked just the transformation into Omnimon.
Yeah.
Next.
Favorite scene in this movie?
I like that we have to think about this.
For reference, Aaron, we kind of had a couple of Pokemon movies where we kind of did struggle to find favorite scenes.
I
Oh,
don't
I
think
believe.
we've struggled this much though.
Normally, I would try to give you a suggestion, but I literally have got nothing. So I can't, Joe. I'm sorry, I cannot.
I would have said the final battle with that virus Digimon monster thing on the internet, but Tio took that.
Diaboromon.
Yes. Screw it. I guess I'll say the stupid line about, wait, did you see that while he was driving? And then he says, no, I was asleep.
Sure, why not?
Nah. The fight between Greymon and the parrot.
Parrotmon is the actual Digimon's name.
I know, but that's really the only good thing I've found. Hell, I will be damned before I credit anything to do with that third segment. I would have said maybe the bit with Garumon, because, rabbits with gun for hands, but I'm sorry. Segment 3 as a whole is just poison.
What about you, Aaron?
I would have to say all of the fight scenes. Mostly because of the animation being just really good for those scenes.
Fair beans.
All right. So, there, where does this leave us?
Well,
Score?
Yeah, Shira, where does it leave us?
Final thoughts and rankings.
Okay.
This movie is a trash fire, but I enjoy it.
Well, I guess you're going first then.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
If I'm being completely honest, I had seen this movie after, hearing all about it from like the Nostalgic Critic review and hearing how it was a bad movie. It's my usual thing of I want to give the movie a fair shot while, not while also holding the expectation in the back of my mind. And my final thoughts on the movie when I first watched it was I recognize that this movie is a trash fire, and it is. This movie is bad. No denying that. This movie is bad. But a part of me really enjoys this movie. And I think the biggest thing that's helping my enjoyment of the movie is the soundtrack.
So out of 10, what would you give this?
2.5. If we're going by how I would genuinely think about this movie, 2.5 out of 10, easily.
Jova?
I can just tell Deji's disappointed.
No, Tio, you're next.
Are you sure?
Yeah, go on.
Yes.
Keep in mind that my judgment applies just for the dub alone. This is just awful. Pure travesty. I might have laughed one joke in the entire thing, and that's when the product was not obnoxious, annoying, or insulting my intelligence. The music doesn't help either. As someone who actually has grown up with a version that localized while staying as close as possible to the actual Japanese script instead of actually doing what happened in America, it was also a jarring shift towards that, and not for a good one, which I really don't understand why Europe got subjected to this when most of our countries did got such a better translated version from the main series. The dialogue is just awful. The jokes don't land. The pop songs are obnoxious as fuck and showcase that the time this movie was made. I'm sorry. This is just an insult to the original, regardless of even their quality. Like the original dubs, the original shorts might have had flaws on their own, but that's not a good excuse to justify the awfulness that these dubs have provided. 0.5, and I'm generous.
Ow.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So, Shira, go.
All right. I did watch this movie when I was a kid, and I only really remember the first section, which was the prequel OVA.
Yeah, the prequel OVA.
Yeah, that's probably for a good reason. Because even if that wasn't great, it was still very harmless in comparison to the rest of it. Why they decided to break up a bunch of different properties and movies and shows rather, and mangle them all together, I will never understand. Like, you argue money, but like it wasn't worth it for what we got.
It's
The
also
music-
it's also
Oh,
the fact
go
that
on.
Digimon didn't have a feature-length movie unlike Pokemon.
Mhm.
Okay, Dej, how much money did this movie make on the box
Yeah,
office?
that's a good question, actually.
I will check right now.
Because because Shiroi, if it did do
Okay.
good numbers, as far as they're concerned, it was indeed worth it. So.
Okay,
Hang on,
this
let's
had
hear
a
it.
budget of $5 million. Box office, it got made $16 million.
Holy sh!
So it made
Sorry, I'm
budget.
sorry. Repeat that again.
It had a budget of $5 million. At box office, 16 million.
So it was
So
a massive success.
3 times the budget.
From their standard, yes. So
I guess
yeah,
to be fair,
Karen
they
has
didn't
triple the budget. Like,
I guess to be fair, they probably didn't have to spend much, given how it was mainly just cobbling stuff together.
So there you go, Shiroi. Technically, yes, it was worth it for them.
This is
So-
not fair.
There is no DG justice.
no, there is no justice in this world. It is such a bad mark on this franchise, and like the characters are all annoying. The music choices, although funny to me, I do understand Tio's frustration. It's like this wasn't
do too.
necessary.
See, here's the thing about those songs. They ruin the shonen energy that the original Japanese creators were going for. That's why I don't like the lack of Braveheart whenever they're digivolving. It removes the shonen energy that this franchise is supposed to have.
Okay. If I could be, okay, I just noticed something. This movie is basically the catalyst for why we have anime AMVs.
Probably.
Because of that soundtrack.
Probably.
Are you sure?
Maybe it probably sparked a brain in people. Also, Shira, if it makes you feel any better, the Pokemon 2000 made more money in the box office.
That does make me feel a little better, yeah.
I mean, I would hope it did.
Yeah, it had a budget of 30 million, made 133.9 million.
I mean, it's
box office.
Pokemon. It would have.
Well, yeah, I was about to say that. It's Pokemon, of course it did.
Yeah. But no, that makes me feel a little better. The Angela Anaconda stuff is like, why? Because I don't know about the rest of you, but I actually watched that show too. I don't
Never
know
seen a
why.
single episode.
Did you like it as a kid?
No, I didn't like it then, and I don't like
And
it
yet-
now.
And yet
Although-
you watched it.
Well, it's more like whatever the parents like kind of put on stays on kind of thing. So it's like
So you
didn't
pretty
really
much
get a choice in that
stumbled
kind of
upon
thing.
it.
My condolences.
And I'm only
Oops.
bringing it
Yeah.
up because again, it was heavily used to promote the movie. It is considered part of the movie as Pedro said, according to official releases. Also, thank you for the condolences. I'm okay now.
I'm okay now.
Notice how she points out that she's okay now.
Yes. Well, it has been years.
My name
anyway,
is
back to the
Shiroi, and
movie.
my name is Shiroi, and I'm fine.
This is fine. Some of the changes that were made were baffling, like in terms of the jokes, and I don't. Well, if we can call them jokes anyway, none of them were actually very funny. Like a part of me just thinks they really shouldn't have bothered, and okay, that's all I really have to say about it. The score, 1, I guess. There we go.
Okay.
It doesn't get a 0 purely because slight Digimon nostalgia and also Gatling Gun Bunny. Anyway.
Gatling Gun Bunny.
Yes.
Alright.
Oh,
Pedro.
who's next? Who's next?
Like I said, okay. Quick review. Too much poop. 3.8 out of 10. But on a
That's
serious
probably
note,
the nicest score we've gotten today.
No. That's actually a joke. Here's the real review. Okay, this, like I said before, this is a cynical, pathetic move from a studio that had Pokemon envy, and was trying so hard to strike while the iron was hot. So there's no feature-length films. Actually, okay, that's fine. Let's just take these 3 movies, cobble them together. There you go. There's your Digimon movie. And let's also completely destroy the tone and atmosphere that Ozoda was trying to create by injecting with all these jokes and music that doesn't fit. Completely destroys the shonen energy of that was intended. And yeah, you have yourself a complete trash fire. It really is a trash fire. it's hard to even say anything positive about this because nothing works. Nothing about this movie works. The only enjoyment you can get out of this movie is ironic enjoyment. It just doesn't work from a basic filmmaking standpoint. It doesn't work. Period. So yeah, yeah, and as a result, I will have to give it a 0 because I am literally struggling to say anything good about this thing. Literally struggling.
All right,
To be honest with you.
And that's it.
Oh.
Wait,
I'm kidding.
Oh.
I kid.
Literally nothing.
No. See now, you see Jova's decided to say, you know what, this movie doesn't deserve my final thoughts.
You know, it really doesn't deserve it at this point, but I guess I'll give them. This movie is definitely on the wrong side of history, let me tell you. I am partly convinced that this may have been a money laundering scheme to make another version of this movie without paying the actors what they were really owed. The jokes are terrible when they're even trying with them, honestly.
Yeah, that's
And
implying they're even trying.
this movie is an eyesore, my god. And it just keeps getting worse and worse as it goes by in some of the most spectacular ways ever. There are some slightly redeeming qualities. The first segment, annoying stuff aside, is relatively fun and harmless and kind of cute. Seeing them all younger and I guess the true origin of how they met Agumon, apparently.
no, it's canon.
It is canon. It is
It is
canon.
canon. It is canon, but it's contradictory as fuck. So.
Regardless, though, the second segment is in some ways the best one. Like, at least it's fine, but by the third segment, just no. No.
Yeah, the third segment's probably the worst part of the movie.
Let me put it like this. If it were maybe just the first two segments, I could have chalked this up as, you know what? A relatively harmless little venture here and there.
Like, if it was just the OVA and our war game.
Yeah, pretty much. But then the third segment just, oh god, no.
The executive decision to put in the third section to to advertise O2 was probably the biggest mistake that this movie could have made.
So whose decision was that specifically? Since apparently the original plan was to just, merge the first two.
This is according to one of the. This was coming from someone who worked on the original movie, Jeff Nimoy.
Yeah.
Who was a staffer on the dub of Digimon.
Is that the name of the guy whose fault it was, or is that the name of the guy who gave the expose?
The one who said that the original plan was to just do the OVA and our war game. But it was Fox Kids executives that pretty much said that to put in Hurricane Touchdown to advertise O2.
Of course Fox was behind it. God, even back then they were making incredibly dumb decisions.
Punishment by Disney ownership.
I'd say that's a fate worse than death.
That's your penalty for making the Digimon movie. There you go.
No, well, actually, it was their bombing of Fan Force that caused them to be like, no.
The third segment just sucks out almost any likability from everything: the story, cast, characters, and tone. The one saving grace might actually be that goddamn Smash Mouth bit with All Star, only because of how ludicrous it is. Let's see how to rank this movie. Not gonna give it a 0 because there were things I did manage to like about it. 4 out of 10.
Wow. Okay.
Sure.
Digimon movie is something I watched multiple times as a kid and thought this was one of the coolest things out there. When I was in elementary school, before I even reached 3rd grade. But upon rewatching it twice in the span of a week, I was repressing a lot about this film. More specifically, the last third of it, because I did not care about the Adventure 02 cast at all. You would tell why I was struggling to say everyone's names except Davis.
I mean, look, the fact that it's based off of a relatively controversial show in the Digimon thing in and of itself says a lot, but the way they go about doing it, removing more participation from the original cast, just makes it even worse.
Like, I thought it was just 3 movies merged into one. I didn't know it was 4. That's even worse.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that the third segment is part of a 2-parter movie, and they basically cut out the part that people would have enjoyed more.
Well, most of it.
How logical.
Like, because of that revelation, this is probably one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Like, well, I don't know what score to give this, because giving it a 0 feels too mean, but it deserves it. I'm so conflicted. Like, there are some elements I genuinely enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I enjoy the soundtrack is pretty much what shaped my musical taste today.
I could say the same for me.
Yeah, that and Beyblade.
And you know what?
Crush
Good
40.
taste in songs. I'll give them credit. Good taste in songs. They may not have always have been fitting, but the songs were all good. Save for the rap.
But man, they did not care. They just saw that Pokemon money and were like,
exactly. That's what I said.
It's so. I'm giving this a 1.
It's the same, Deji. It's the same. It's the same thing that that Warner Brothers did with Batman v Superman. They really wanted to catch up to the MCU, so let's just start shoving all this crap in BVS.
What? No, actually, Tia, do you think being given a 1 is too nice?
It's up to you, not to me.
It's your opinion. You form it.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this a 1. So with that, between me, Jova, Pedro, and Shira, the core 4, this movie has a 5.
Dads, look at the bright side. At least it didn't score higher than Pokemon 2000. That, I feel, would have sent you to the hospital with the aneurysm you would have gotten from that.
None of us would give it anything higher than a 5.
Yeah, like, no.
Well, not even, forget 5, higher than a 4. No, Jovan only gave it a 4. So
pretty much, yeah.
What a train wreck.
Yeah,
that's putting it nicely. Honestly, I feel like train wrecks could be cleaned up easier than this movie.
You said that, but you still gave it a 4, though.
Yeah, exactly. You sure you don't want to give it a 3 or something?
No. I'm still sticking with 4 because, for as terrible as it is, I have seen much worse disasters that have just.
To be completely fair, yeah.
There are worse stuff that we've seen, but the reason why I had to give it this score specifically is knowing the behind the scenes stuff, which is like, oh.
Again, I'm factoring this on the movie. Like, here's the thing. The main thing that drags us down is arguably the third segment. For as much as there is to complain about, that third segment is really where a lot of the problems center around. Like I said, if it weren't for that third segment, I might have been able to call this movie decent even. Mind you, I still would have had...
honestly, yeah, if it wasn't for... the third segment is really what dropped it. If they just kept the first 2, I probably would be like, you know what? 5 out of 10, and whatever.
This is part of why I give it a...
Jova's being too generous, but...
This is part of why I give it a 4 out of 10, though, in the sense that I go, honestly, it could be much worse, and there are still enough things that I do like. Like, yes, for as ill-fitting as they are, I still do care for the songs. While the animation, I feel, can be a bit of an eyesore at times, when the fight scenes do come about, It's good enough, and I'm fine with it overall. Like,
but then when you remember, this entire movie was clinging so hard on Willis. They were trying to hype him up, and he barely does squat.
I mean, was Willis even that big a factor in the show? No,
No, it was
he
a character
wasn't.
made for this movie.
So, like, why even?
Takato's cousin from Tamers has more plot relevance.
Because reasons, Jova. Because reasons.
So, now that we've done whatever the hell this April Fool's prank was meant to be, I thought it was gonna be fun. Huh?
Was it worth it, Deji? Was it worth it?
Did you have fun in the end? What did it cost,
I hate the fact that we're going to have to going to go back and review this because considering the score we gave Heroes, and it's like,
What? Oh my god, this is tied with Heroes, isn't it?
No, Heroes has more. And it's just like, dang, really?
No, well, okay. Heroes at the very least. Okay, here's the thing about Heroes.
Pokemon Heroes is better than this. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. I was trying to say that. Yeah, no. Okay, the big problem with Pokemon Heroes is that it doesn't even have a plot until like the last 20 minutes. And but at the very least, it doesn't feel like a complete amalgamation of shit, and it's not constantly shoving poop jokes and stupid, dumb piece of shit into scenes. So there's that.
Yeah, okay. So now that we've done this, Pedro.
Wait, Des, question.
Aaron, thanks for being here.
Hold on, Des, question. Are we going to count this as part of the scoreboard?
Yes.
Oh, neat.
Sorry you got dragged in on this.
No, I specifically asked.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, I'll invite you for something good next.
And you better invite me for Pokemon Ranger and the Temple of the Sea.
Oh, what a coincidence! No. but
He's
anyway.
gonna invite him for the Genesect movie, isn't he?
I have never seen the Genesect movie.
Okay, so now that the Digidestin's got the hell out of Colorado, it's time for our next challenge. Time travel! And the fate of the yokai world rests on the shoulders of 2 kids. So see you next time for the Yokai Watch movie.
What?
Alright, goodbye everybody, good night.
Bye.
And time.
Hey,
That's just all part.
Don't ask me, I'm just reading what he gave me.